go. We are live.
Excellent. Welcome to another episode of Tales of Athanasia, where all of us are trying to be quiet so as to not aggravate the health conditions of those present. Where we last left off, we fought a kraken. It had a dark stone inside of it. Hera went in, punched it to death, and then pulled the dark stone out. That was fun. And then she went all photo negative, and things got weird. Ronnie investigated the shipwreck, hauled up a whole crap ton of loot, and you guys found some, among all the other things, some maps from the pirate, a big stash of loot that had some magic items and such in it. And your next objective was to figure out what happened to the Weatherstone. So you find yourselves aboard the Maelstrom. The captain is finally back to normal. She's returned to the bridge, and all of you have the sea open to you, and the key is floating nearby with Yara aboard. What would you like to do?
Well, that was interesting. Refresh my memory about the Weatherstones. It's disappeared or something from where we thought it was.
You guys first encountered the effects of the Weatherstone as you were approaching the island of Huatli's Island, where you were looking for the divination stone. You saw the sort of centralized storm system that was kind of following around the Maelstrom. Then, of course, you discovered that the giant who was holding the magical staff had this tiger's eye embedded in the base of it. And when Rocky looked at the staff, he noticed that the energy coming from it was reminiscent of the same sort of energy that you all see all the time inside the key with when the stone spirits sort of manifest. While you were discussing things with Astra and Barta and the other officers of the Maelstrom, there was a point in time when you saw the stone, and then at some point you looked again, and there was no stone, and no one was able exactly to pinpoint where it went. Barta, of course, immediately suspected everybody else because there was nobody else in the room, and she wouldn't have suspected her own crew. As you all were able to explain, you didn't do anything with it, and so they have sort of put that on hold while they're trying to figure out what to make of the prophecy that came immediately afterward. So Astra is now recovered, and of course she and the giant are able to agree. That stone was one of the ones that they had intended to collect, and now that it's missing, they are very interested in getting it back.
Okay.
The giant, by the way, is named Prague.
Yeah, so all of the stuff that I would probably use, I don't have because of the change in the system power. Yeah, the change. The changing. Okay. So I don't know. It was here and it went out from under everybody's noses somehow.
Right.
I definitely don't have anything that can help.
Unless somebody literally teleported in and out, it should be somewhere on their ship still.
Mm-hmm.
Do we
haven't gone anywhere?
We have the divination stone now, right?
Do what?
We have the divination stone now.
Correct.
Sorry,
And
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Didn't we technically?
I was just going to point out the same thing you were.
Didn't we technically ask the divination stone about the weatherstone, but instead it gave us info about the dark stone?
Yeah, the last time I tried to use that to hone in on the stones, it just made me barf out the prophecy again.
It gave you a prophecy about what you were asking for. The other one, the one that led you to the Kraken, that was what Barda and her crew were looking into. So because you didn't have any leads on the Weatherstone, you went after the Darkstone, of course, not realizing what it was.
Yeah,
So
because we told
gave,
them. Yeah, we went over they were like, "Oh yeah, one of that things in the prophecies actually does make sense to us." But
right. So the prophecy that remains was the one about Pirates Bay, and you can look back at that one if you need to.
yeah, so they don't know where this Pirates Bay is at, supposedly.
Well, no, they're not from this area.
Oh, okay.
They're from the Meroz Sea, which is the sea south of the Siren Sea. Now, of course, Yara, having had experience now with the divination stone in conjunction with the key, you know that if you get close enough, it'll ping its location.
But you have to be fairly close for that to work.
It needs to be within that distance that you have written down on the steps. So the prophecy should lead you theoretically to get in the area, and then the actual investigation from the key itself should reveal the location.
Yeah. Do I have charts or anything like that I can work with?
I mean, you literally just took sea charts from the shipwreck.
Okay.
Would those be
So
navigator's tools, or was that something different?
I mean, that basically counts as components of navigator's tools, yes. But also because it, in my opinion, I'm treating it like a book. So this would be like giving you a certain bonus to like history checks to look up information regarding the Siren Sea. That kind of thing.
I would like to. Can I maybe investigate these charts?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I don't know how long that'll take me to pour through that information stuff, but at least maybe that'll help me figure out where this Pirates Bay is likely at.
Sure. So,
We do have access to seasoned navigators. I don't know how forthwith they will be to help us, but
the Maelstrom's crew.
Yeah, the crew of the Maelstrom. I mean, this is their life.
That's true.
We could ask them to look at the maps and see what
they
are.
Literally, it was their stone that was taken, so they're literally motivated to go find it with you. So.
I guess I didn't think to ask them because they don't seem to know where this bay is at anyway. But they're also not from the area, so maybe if we have charts that actually show what's around the area, they can discern. So yeah, let us take the charts over to the Maelstrom and have a moot and see if we can figure out where this bay is at.
I would like to put forth a moot.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever seen that? What is it? It's like a web series, but it's on some. I think it's either Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. But it's got not Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, and what's his name? Guy who played Barty Crouch Jr. in Harry Potter. Anyway.
David Tennant.
The purple guy, David Tennant.
Yeah. That guy. David Tennant. So he's got this phrase that he says on the show. I think it's called staged. He's like, I would like to put forth a moot. Anyways. So you go over to the crew of the mail, or that is to say, you go over to the Maelstrom, you talk to the officers. Barda is there, Astra is there. They are discussing something privately on the forecastle.
Can I throw something in here just real quick?
Yes.
It says that it's enchanted by the Sealkin's Lay. So if we also knew where, I don't know, there was a village of Sealkin.
Yeah, Ronnie had investigated that before. And what she concluded based on her knowledge of the area is that there are like Selkies who are Sealkin. The Selkies do live in the Siren Sea, but it's on like the other side of the peninsula near the Winsley village, the Winsley Highlands. So if unless you're interested in taking a long trip, that would be where you would find them. So, yes. Oh, so I wanted to say also, considering the navigation charts, the ones that you pulled off the pirate ship, using those in conjunction with your navigator's tools will actually improve your rolls. So it'll give you, like I said, if you study them for a certain amount of time, like an hour gives you a bonus of +1. So studying them for more hours gives you more of a bonus on navigation checks when you're in this area.
What's going on? Okay.
Well, I mean, I have them. I guess I could start studying them or give them to Yara to study if that matters.
So are you wanting, Yara, are you wanting to study them yourself or maybe approach the captain of the Maelstrom about them?
Let's work together with the captain of the Maelstrom.
Okay.
We're both after the same thing here, and that's to recover the Weatherstone that they had, and poof, it's gone.
Right. Okay. All right. So you head aboard the Maelstrom, and you approach Astra and Barda. Astra turns to you and she says, hang on, I got to get into character again. Dang it! I'm very sorry for being out of it for so long. Unfortunately, the soothsayer does exhaust me when she speaks her prophecies. What Barta has told me of the situation, were you able to recover the stone from the shipwreck?
Yes, we were able to recover one of the stones, but we are interested in helping you recover the one that you had in your possession. We're both after the same thing, I think. And in the wreckage of the ship, one of my fellow associates was able to recover some charts of the area. Perhaps we can use them to make sense of this prophecy matter.
Oh, this is very good. Are these, you say these are from the shipwreck? They would have been the pirates. The pirates came and attacked us. They are their navigational charts?
Yes, and the prophecy does seem to mention a pirate's bay. So I'm hoping the charts will have information regarding their, perhaps, hideout or area that they frequent.
This is very good. We will get our navigator on this. Do you have the charts with you presently?
Blah.
So she'll take him and she'll nod across the ship over to Prague, who is currently sitting down against the wall of the ship and kind of looking at the tip of the butt end of his staff, sort of forlornly at where the tiger's eye used to sit. And she says, Prague, ven aquí. Te necesito por algo. One moment. He is our navigator. He will take a look at the charts. And Prague just kind of lifts his enormous bulk off of the side of the ship, and as he sort of walks more towards center, the whole ship kind of goes, and he approaches. She comes down, and they set out a table and they lay it out in front of him so he can look at it. He'll study it for a little bit, and when he's done kind of looking around a little bit, it looks like he kind of traces his finger over some of the lines. It looks like obviously there are longitude and latitude lines, but in addition to that, there are some others that are drawn in red ink with dashed lines. And he starts to kind of trace his finger over these. And then when he's done, he says, es que hay muchas islas y creo que están allí o allí o allí. And Astra says, we're pretty sure that the Pirates' Bay might be one of these 3 locations. He tells us that the pirates apparently have left notes here of the stashes that they use frequently to place their contraband. It looks like one of the islands was the island we came from, and I believe that this may be probably not the one we are looking for. That leaves 2 remaining that could potentially be the ones that we are looking for. One of them is, it appears to the east here, and she points on the map. And if you are looking at the map of Athanasia, you'll see that the longitude and latitude lines that intersect in the Siren Sea over the Great Chasm that flows under the Siren Sea, that location is pointed out as one of the possible locations of the island. The other one is, if you look at where it says Tower of Towers, indicating the peninsula there,
yeah.
Inside of that O for the second word tower, that would be where the second island is that he indicates. The third one, of course, is where you are now, sort of south of the Tower of Towers. So it looks like it's probably like a good couple of days sea travel out that direction.
Okay, and then the one you mentioned first is further away than that?
Yeah, it's more out to sea. And little... That island, the one that he's talking about over the Great Chasm, would be literally directly west of you. The other one is a bit northeast.
Okay, so...
Sorry, northwest, I apologize. Northwest.
Do we agree, then, that our goals are aligned? We have these charts. We have probable locations of where the Weatherstone currently lies. Shall we set sail together, then?
Let me consult with my officers. One moment. And she turns and she says to Prague, oye, es que vamos a investigar a ver si está la piedra ahí en una de las islas. ¿Qué piensas de lo que hacemos cuando lo encuentran? Lo quiero para mi barro. She says, it appears that Prague would very much like to have it back when you find the stone. He has been doing us a very good service. And
that's my translation there.
Yes. And we have benefited in our quest to find the stones here in the Siren Sea thus far by him having it with us. He directs the wind in our favor and so forth. Are you amenable to this? We will seek it out together. We will help you and support you as with any dangers that we may encounter. And then when our tasks are complete, we will take the stone with us.
Yes, about that. The stones do us no good separately. They must all be gathered if we're to face the rising threat.
This is interesting. I am very certain about what the soothsayer has meant for us to do. I am sorry to say that her mission for us is of great importance to the world. I know that you have shared some of your story with us. What exactly do you intend to do with them once you find them?
I'll point over to our ship. This is a weapon left by the ancients. We're going to need it to counter what the enemy has in store for us.
What do you know of this? We have perhaps been kept in the dark by the soothsayer. She has not told us exactly what we are to expect. Do you know what the coming conflict may be?
I cannot say for sure, only that the Lord of Darkness is in league with the Stormcrow as an alliance of convenience, but it can bode no ill will to the free peoples of Athanasia.
Well, I know nothing of the Stormcrow, and the Lord of Darkness does not sound very kind and forthcoming a person, certainly not one that you could negotiate with.
Captain, have you been paying attention to the tides?
Certainly, now that you mention it, they have become increasingly more erratic and always dragging toward the northeast.
Yes, there's a reason for that. The plan of the first Raven is to drop the moon onto the planet.
She kind of like pauses for a second and is like, you will need to back up a moment. Drop the moon on the planet. How could any crow possibly accomplish this?
It's a crow in name only. It's an ancient one. Dare I say, a god.
¿De qué hablan? She turns to Barda and Barda responds. Creo que hablan de los espíritus de los ancianos. Do you mean the primal spirits?
I believe so, yes. I don't know all of the details and all of the tongues. But this one wishes ill wants to conquer the world. And according to stories I know, at one point almost succeeded until the northern pole was blasted off the planet and thus became the great moon in the sky. If I recall correctly, it's Panthera?
Panthera.
Panthera.
Yeah, I'll take for granted the idea that Jareth is trying to sort of tell the story in a dramatic way.
Yes.
Despite what the player's memory may be. Go ahead and make a performance check. I'm interested to see how well Jareth sort of tells the story.
Where did good dice go? Oh, well. We'll just see how shitty this goes. Yeah, not that good. That's a 13.
Okay. So she's at the very least, amused by your story, and she's entertained. And she says, well, I never suspected that the moon might be something that could have originated from the world that we now stand on, that we upon whose seas we float at this very moment. You say it was blasted off. Who in the world could have done such a thing? Removed part of the planet and thrown it into the sky?
He did. I point out Rappy.
She kind of raises her eyebrows as if to say, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
One of many.
In my defense, I don't really remember doing it.
Give me a persuasion check.
Well, I mean, I don't, but that is a 3.
Okay. She's not sure what to make of you. Let me see what she says. Yeah, no, she squints. She kind of like eyes you up and down, tries to figure out exactly where you're coming from, and she just kind of like busts up laughing and turns to Barda and starts elbowing her and being all like, that is the most ridiculous story I have ever heard. It is amazing.
That is true. However, I would like to point out the fact. I point over at our ship.
Uh-huh.
A giant metal craft came flying out of the sky, shot your ship to shit, and then buzzed around all over the place. If that's not the weirdest thing you've seen in a while. Additionally, you can calculate yourself. Like, as you said, the tides are strange and pulling in the direction of the moon's path in the sky and getting stronger every day.
Make a persuasion check at advantage. You make some compelling points.
What compelling the mine were, which is give me the stone.
Yes, Yara does tend to be more fighty.
I don't know if you can see that or not.
Is that a natural 20?
That's a natural 20.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So while you're explaining these things to her, like, she goes from this attitude of whatever, yeah, pull the other leg, to like, she starts to kind of like, the details you're adding tell her that you're not just making this up. And the sincerity with which you're delivering this information is really causing her to be like, oh crap, you're serious. Like the moon is falling and we're all going to die unless something changes. And so she says, Barta, inmediatamente, vamos para la isla. Diga a los otros, vamos a ayudarles en toda manera posible. Y de hecho, de este momento para atrás y para adelante, tú eres la capitán. ¿De serio? Sí, tú lo eres. I have told her to take over the ship. This matter is of great enough importance that I am willing to come with you on this adventure. If you will have me, I will dedicate whatever I have in me, all of my expertise, my knowledge, and my officers, if you would like them. Except for Barta, of course, who needs to take care of the maelstrom in my absence. If you need me, my place is with you. My place is with the divination stone. And it is for the purpose of saving the world. So, do you need a crew?
Well, we're not the best sailors, and while our ship does fly, it's still similar idea. It wouldn't hurt to have more hands to help, especially someone who's on the same quest as us and is somewhat familiar with the stones. However, I'm not the captain of that ship. Yara, what do you think?
What's their proposal again? Basically.
Astra is proposing that she and the officers of her ship, basically, except for Barta, offer their services to the key and become your crew, essentially. She's willing to come on as low-level grunts, if for no other reason than to just aid your quest and make sure that everything goes to plan.
Agreed, but I have some interns I need you to whip into shape.
Oh, and she gets this look on her face like, you have said the magic words. That is my favorite thing to do.
They haven't earned a passing grade yet, and by damned they will by the time this adventure's over.
Oh, I assure you, they will earn much more than a passing grade by the time I am through with them.
Yes, I think that arrangement can be amicable.
So long as we are aboard your ship, I believe it would be in the best interest of all those present if perhaps you would allow Prague to use the Weatherstone once we find it. It will help us to travel more quickly. He can manipulate it to our advantage. The winds will be in our favor always.
We had one who I would have fared better with the Weatherstone, but he's unfortunately passed beyond, and in his absence, I believe that, yes, we can give you control of the Weatherstone while you're on board the ship.
Very well. In that case, I suppose we have some arrangements to make. Is there anything that you need in specific? Anything that we can offer you? We have not a heavy load in our lower decks, but we have some supplies and things that might be able to help. Are you in need of anything specific? Any tools? Anything else that may help the journey?
Well, I know that the ship is of an advanced design, but we are probably in some need of some field repairs until we can get her into dock.
Very well.
Supplies, I'm afraid we report on as well. We've had some challenges, speaking. I wasn't on board when we loaded her.
She says, very good. Why don't you actually come down with us and see if there's anything that you need, and if we find anything, we'll bring it along.
All right,
so,
I will go down with them and see what they got.
I'll go ahead and just say, like, any basic supplies or anything that you think you might need that could be found aboard a privateer vessel. We can just assume that you have that from this point forward. So if there's something that you need and it seems like relatively inexpensive and would be found aboard a regular sailing ship, you got it.
Okay.
in addition, we'll go ahead and say that she brings on board enough, like she'll basically split the rations so that you
Yeah, I
guys
don't
will
want to put them out. Like, all right, see ya. We've left them bare in the middle of the ocean.
Like she's giving Barda instructions to basically like take care of the ship. It's hers now. She's welcome to do whatever she wants with it. That she'll basically reconvene and catch up with her later. But in the meantime, Barda's like, yeah, no, take everything you can, and we'll just make dock over at the Tower of Towers so that we can replenish and whatnot. She actually does turn to Ronnie, who has been the one sort of organizing, like getting all of this loot from the bottom of the ocean from the shipwreck, and she says, given that we are now going to be pulling our resources a little bit, I wonder if you wouldn't mind leaving us a little bit of coin to replenish the stocks that we are taking from the Maelstrom. Or perhaps some trade goods we could exchange on the way.
You want more nuts?
Do you have more nuts?
Yeah.
Full. I think you gave her the entire barrel last time.
I thought I had that was just 400 so much GP worth of nuts.
Right. So the barrel of nuts was that many GP of trade goods.
Okay, I thought there was more.
No, yeah. So you've got a lot more trade goods, but you have no more.
Here, I got this silk you can trade for. And I have some alcohol.
And the whole crew just goes, ah!
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this will actually help us out because it means we won't need to purchase more. So,
sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Oh, she says, believe it or not, this will actually help us out because we will not need to purchase any more for the crew when we arrive in port. So we'll be able to spend that money on other things.
There you go.
So you're giving over the silk and the alcohol. How many more hundreds of gold do you have in trade goods left?
That was 2,330 was what I have.
So the silk is worth 640 gold. And the alcohol is worth, we're going to call it a barrel worth 78 gold.
Alrighty.
So go ahead and mark that off, and they'll say, we thank you very much for your contribution. We assure you that we will be doing as much as we can on the sea to aid you. Bart and I will know how to contact each other. We are able to communicate through a messenger system, a bit of an unconventional one. And she actually reaches into her pocket inside of her vest, and she pulls out this little mechanical bird. And she says, this is my very faithful companion, has been for many years. And she kind of winds it up a little bit, a couple of cranks, and it kind of just sits there and tweets in her hand. So if you have any need to communicate between ships, we can certainly do that.
It's good to know we'll have the capability if it calls for it.
In the meantime, I'll do what I can to set up. Is there anyone who would be able to show me the accommodations?
Yes, I can show you a to the vessel.
Very well. So she'll come aboard. Prague will come along as well. And then I'll leave it to you guys to decide how many more of the officers you'd like to take with you. Barda is remaining in command of the Maelstrom, and her now first mate is going to be Skev. So both of them are going to stay on board. Prague is going to bring his friend Goose. Would you like the goblin Flisbit and his companion Birdie? He would be the bosun of the Maelstrom, but he's willing to come aboard if you'd like him.
I don't know much about this goblin.
He kind of smiles at you as you're looking at him, and you see that his teeth are actually not teeth, but they're like an assortment of like child's teeth and broken glass and nails, and he just kind of gives you a really big grin.
I think your talents are... I think you'll
What's
need
that,
it on
Eve?
your own ship.
Said respectfully decline. Thank you for showing up for the interview and your application. We'll be sure to keep it on file in case a position should come available at a future date.
Oh, certainly, Frisbit is harmless. He has only recovered those things from other loot from down the other ships. You know, it's nothing really that he's a goblin. They don't go for they aren't made with teeth. You know, they have to replace it with something.
I have interns. Do I need really any more problems than that?
Fair enough. Frisbit will kind of go. He says to his bird, and the bird goes. They wander off.
It's really just a stuffed bird. It's not even real.
Yes, you see him speak out of the side of his mouth. She also recommends that if you'd like, she can bring along Mortag and Dundren. They're two of her best crew members, and they would just basically provide additional hands on deck.
All right, we'll give the stamp of approval to those two.
Okay, so you'll take the two low guys, but the bosun with nails for teeth, you're like, we're good.
We have to draw a standard somewhere.
Yeah.
But what the bosun, isn't that the person in charge of like repairs though?
Yes.
I mean,
Ronnie, aren't you our bosun?
yeah, but I don't have any real experience. It's only because there wasn't anyone else for the position. All right, so who all is coming aboard?
So we've got Astra, who was an erstwhile captain. She's probably pretty adept with navigator's tools. She could be a good quartermaster for you if you'd like. And then you've got, actually, I should say, she would make a good first mate. The quartermaster would probably be Prague. He's the giant with the weather staff that no longer works because it doesn't have the tiger's eye in it. And then finally, the bosun would be Flisbit, if you would like him. He's got the experience being the bosun of...
we do need to fix stuff on the ship. I have to reconsider the application.
He turns back and he goes...
If only because we get to hear Jay make that voice like every game.
He's not allowed in my room.
It might be on a trial. So after hearing Rocky point out he doesn't have much experience, and we have him as our bosun, and then our choice being a goblin full of bulls, which doesn't sound much better. I mean, I guess we'll take him on board and see if he can prove his worth.
Sure. Okay. So you are taking Astra. She's good as a first mate if you would like her to be that. Otherwise, she'll just be a crew member. Prague is your giant. He is a dendrite and would make a good quartermaster. And then Flisbit is going to be your bosun.
And what were the two crew members' names?
The two crew members were Mortag and Dundren. I hope somebody's making a note of all this because...
I have notes.
Okay, great.
One of the few times I've taken those because I'm usually really bad at it.
Right. Also, for the sake of your reference, they will all sort of explain where they come from and sort of what their skill set is. Astra explains that she is what would be called like a swashbuckler, basically. It's sort of a specialized fighter that does like a defensive approach to combat, where she does kind of like a one-on-one thing, and as long as she occupies one person, she kind of keeps them from fighting anybody else. Prague, as a dendrite, would be really good at digging into natural stuff. He's more weather-oriented than earth-oriented, though. So he would kind of fill the arcane hole left by our late great friend Mekon, and then Flisbit. Astra kind of has to translate a little bit because he speaks Goblin and only Goblin apparently. So he is going to be a rogue. He's a really good pickpocket, and it's pretty apparent. Like he's got no social skills whatsoever. He's never going to be able to lie to your face. But he can do stuff with his hands that would make Ronnie impressed, which is one of the reasons why I assigned him to bosun, because he's able to get in and like repair all the minor things that would cause a ship to fail if they piled up.
I mean,
Okay.
you can say that Ronnie would be impressed, but until I actually see her be impressed, I'm not believing it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Hey, Ronnie, what's your passive perception?
Who?
Ronnie.
Passive,
Yep.
16.
You notice that Flisbit comes up from behind you, and he offers you the one of Jareth's instruments.
I take it. I'm not impressed. I'm just annoyed.
Ronnie is so freaking stoic. This is great. Okay, so all of them come aboard. Where would you like them? I hear you saying Flisbit would be a good bosun because you need one. Is it okay if Prague is your quartermaster?
Who even was quartermaster before?
Hero just got the job.
Oh, well, I don't. I'm gonna guess Hero doesn't mind giving up that job, or do you want to keep doing it?
She's obsessed with the Darkstone right now. She's not paying attention.
I mean, there is another option, which is that you can double up on duties. So if one person isn't aboard, you have options.
No, she doesn't like being stuck to the ship anyway, so it's fine.
Okay. And then obviously you are our first mate. Astra is willing to fill in any openings if you guys want to stay with your current power structure.
I think that'll be fine.
She'll actually suggest if you guys want to stay with Jareth as your first mate, she's willing to be second mate and kind of be like acting first mate while Yara's away.
That can work also.
Okay. You would still need a surgeon and a cook. I remember, Rocky, you were the cook. You've got your cook's utensils, so you're able to do that.
Yes, I got a spoon, so I'm good.
And then Bran, are you going to still be the surgeon? Actually, This is a good option. If you would like, you could have Prague as a surgeon understudy because he's also a dendrite.
I mean, sure.
Okay. So wait, but Hero said that she didn't care, so maybe he is yeah. So he'll focus on being quartermaster, and then maybe pick up some surgeon stuff on the side. All right. Flisbit will immediately start working on the key, and it's the classic pull out a wrench, start banging things kind of situation. He kind of starts looking over the ship's construction and trying to figure out exactly how it works. And when he realizes that there aren't any nails, he kind of looks at the tiny little ball peen hammer in his hand and he goes, so he'll do that for a while. In the meantime, you guys will have some more time to look at the charts. You do in fact see that there is a way to get to the island in question. It will be through open ocean, however, and because the ocean drops away as it goes further and further away from the mainland, you will probably be doing some surface skimming as far as sailing goes. So you won't be airborne this whole time. You'll be running along the surface of the water with at least one stone embedded or slotted that will give you sails that should speed up your movement. And obviously, with the Weatherstone, once you get it, you should be able to move even faster.
Okay. If we get it. I'm assuming we will. But
Okay, Jake, can you clarify? So I seem to remember that they had the Weatherstone, and then like all of a sudden they just didn't.
Like it was just gone for no reason. Yeah.
Like they had it, and then it wasn't there. Okay.
Yeah, like literally it was in the end of his staff, and then suddenly it was gone.
All right, and also to clarify, we don't really know who the soothsayer is. It's someone that gives Astra dreams or something.
Yeah, based on what Astra and Barda were able to explain to you, their experience with the soothsayer has been that when Astra touched the Weatherstone for the first time, when they found it in their batch of loot for that particular expedition they were on, she touched it and then she was possessed by the soothsayer and she began making prophetic statements. The prophetic statements, of course, led them to the island, which is where you encountered them. And then when she touched another emerald, but it was completely fake, like it was not a power stone, it was not a spirit stone, she got another prophetic vision, like gave her prophecy or whatever. So as far as that goes, like, that Barda said that soothsayers don't have names. And from your experience, you can tell that it's not Astra, or if it is, then Astra must be able to project herself into Yara, because Yara did the exact same thing when she asked the divination stone about where to find the stone.
Okay.
I think once we get all the new crew loaded up and we've got our bearings and are oriented, we'll probably just start hitting these different spots in the order that they're closest on and just set sail.
Sure. All right. The crew of the Maelstrom say their goodbyes and farewells to Astra and the remainder of the officers leaving the ship. Barda and Astra share a particularly close moment, and you see them kiss and then move away from each other. And the remainder of the officers board the key, and everything kind of gets underway, and the Maelstrom just sort of like gets the sails going, but Barda, it looks like, is right there on the edge of the railing, like watching as the key sails off onto the horizon.
Bye.
You guys get going. It's going to be a couple of days, so we'll go ahead and start off with some navigator checks, and that's going to be Prague, I think.
I'll have given Prague my navigator's tools that I also just got, if that helps.
Okay.
Last I recall, I basically fulfilled one of the 3 requirements for captain, I think. I like passed enough to where, or there was like 3 different ones I had to make, and I'm cleared one of them.
I think you had one left, actually. You
just
passed
one left? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember what the last one was, though. I remember it was probably my worst one of the 3, so it's probably going to take me a bit to get it. But
so captain would have been intelligence, charisma, intimidation, and persuasion. But it would have been intelligence, intimidation, and persuasion.
Yeah, so persuasion is what I have left.
Okay, so go ahead and make your final check, your persuasion check, to see how well you're able to sort of rally the crew.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I rolled a respectable 18. So
awesome. Okay, so go ahead and give me now. Your crew has been through a little bit of stuff. You're all able to kind of gather yourselves after all of the craziness that's been going on the last several days. What does Yara say to kind of get everyone on the same page and behind the mission?
This has certainly been a harrowing journey and a harrowing experience, but we fought in a great beast of the sea and succeeded. No force will stand between us and the greater good. We must gather these stones so that we can protect ourselves, our loved ones, and the kingdoms we serve against the greater forces that move against us. Also, there's free alcohol.
At this, you see, so as Yar is giving his speech, like Humpty and Dumpty are in the back, like kind of getting a little teary-eyed and like, yeah, we're doing something important, man. And then all of a sudden, when you say, and there's free alcohol, they're like, yeah, I told you, man, it's gonna be great. Oh, this is so great. And then, of course, as the speech ends, the goblin kind of goes, oh my God! And it looks like he's like waving a couple of bags with some kind of, something clinking inside. And he kind of tosses them up in the air a couple of times, looks back at the guys and goes, suckers!
Well, at least he didn't take their teeth.
Astra and Prague and Mortag and Dundren are all appropriately moved, and it seems that Astra now kind of has a newfound respect for you. You can see a little bit in her eyes that like she feels impressed as a captain, like recognizes like, and she kind of comes up to you and she says, "How long have you been a captain of this ship?"
Less than a week?
Well, several days.
Yeah.
Several days.
Well, as you can tell, I've had command of this vessel for several days.
Something tells me that you have a knack for leadership.
I wouldn't know. Most organizations that I belong to have collapsed. Though not of my own fault. Out of changes in the law and things out of my control.
I'll have to watch you from here on out. Take some notes.
But I find basic premises of martial discipline in the War Guild do apply out at sea.
Oh, you're from the War Guild. I thought that was a legend, a tale from the old times.
Yes, well, I was one of the last trained under the charter. But the royals of Eusoria has reinstated us.
Indeed. Oh, a legend no more. Now, something to be feared and respected, I'm sure. She kind of claps you on the shoulder. She says, "Back to the stations then, Captain?"
Yes, I think so. Do my Captain Morgan pose on the
That's right.
bow of the ship.
Aye, aye. And she returns to her post.
Although it's not an open deck, though, really. I just like I'm posing in this wall. I'm not looking out over anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So, like, what you would expect on a regular sailing vessel is to have the main sort of deck be slightly lower than like the area that would be used as a forecastle. And in the Key, that's more or less the same. It's just completely, radially symmetrical. So you can kind of like go up a little bit and stand and make a little pose or whatever. But I mean,
Yeah, I try to explain to the new crew members that it's going to be disorienting, but you should be able to get your key legs.
Oh, well done! Bump your inspiration die. That was great. Okay, so Prague takes his time and makes sure that he is able to understand which direction the maps go. Is there anybody who is interested in giving him any kind of a bonus on this? Do you want to add your bonus to his at all?
Who is this?
This is Prague, the giant.
So wisdom bonus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll help.
Okay.
It's +5.
All right. So he'll go ahead and roll for his first day. It's a good thing, too. He rolled a 9. His bonus plus yours will succeed. You show him around a little bit, and he kind of like looks at you and nods a couple of times as if to say, I don't think I would have gotten this if it hadn't been for you. But what he actually says is, disculpe, pero no puedo hablar tu lengua. Por la mitad, gracias por tu ayuda.
Wow, I feel like I would have understood that if that was before the blip.
Changing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling a lot of shade here as a GM, changing all you guys' stats.
Nothing at all.
Thumbs up and like a awkward smile.
No shade, just saying we used to be able to do things.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, you help him. Like one of the biggest things is like you're able to turn the map 90 degrees, and he kind of looks up and to the side, and he realizes that gravity working differently, he had kind of lost orientation on which direction was north outside. But once he kind of
wise person to handle this position.
Sí, espero que te voy a hacer un buen trabajo.
Somebody turned Spanish mode on Buzz.
God, you're just full of them tonight.
Well, these guys are from an area of the world called Puerto Ugaña. I figure the closest analog is Spanish.
I'm often told that I'm full of it, so I'm kind of used to it.
Okay, so that was your navigator's tools. You guys are on course, and you should be making progress. Is anybody else interested in making some checks?
I do want to attune to the Darkstone if I get a chance.
Done. That takes an hour.
I do check up on Hero because last I saw, she was like, "Yes, the Darkstone." I might want to just check up as the captain and make sure that all of my crew is insane. Like the shadows, yes. Especially considering that one of the main antagonists is like the Lord of Darkness, and now we have the Darkness Stone, and I don't know, like, is that like one of the seeing eyes for Soren for the Lord of Darkness? I don't know.
Right, interesting question.
Yeah.
With Yara's experience with Mekon specifically, but then also with Arcana in general. I would say go history or Arcana, whichever you prefer, but you will get different information for each.
Well, one or the other, or both?
One or the other, basically.
Okay, I'll do Arcana.
How does Yara approach this problem? Like, how does she figure out what exactly this Darkstone is capable of?
I want to know the magical capabilities. I don't necessarily want to know how it was used over history. So
sure. Okay, so Arcana.
Yeah, so a 16.
So what you know about the Spirit Stones in general is that they have words of power bound to them. Now, what that means in mage terms is the words of power originally came from what is now Dendrite, the Druidic, which itself is a derivation of the Strange language, which was brought here by the Strangers all those centuries ago. Words of power in themselves are being brought to this world by the Strangers. Now, the Lord of Darkness was a demon. And Strangers, like demons, are eternal beings from a previous creation. So theoretically, the magic is linked, but it isn't demonic for its source. Strangers occupy, in the Pantheon, Strangers occupy a neutral position, whereas angels are on the good end and demons are on the bad end. So while it is like the same variety, it's related. It's sort of a familial relation, the same kind of magic. It isn't demonic specifically. So your guess is that it's probably not going to be coming from the Lord of Darkness, even though it might be manipulating similar powers.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't like, I get that. I'm just concerned since it channels the same kinds of energy. Could the Lord of Darkness
use it?
Yeah, or use it.
I think that would be something that would be outside of Yara's experience to be able to know. Like, she wouldn't be able to know if the Lord of Darkness was or wasn't capable of that. You could, however, talk to Hero about it.
Yeah, it's a plausible concern, so I think I will while we have some moments on the high seas here. And
okay.
So, yes, you have your quarters, so you just hear a...
Have I already attuned, or I'm in the middle of attuning?
You just got done.
Oh, Okay.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay, I just didn't know if I would have
Give me 5
taken
minutes.
that to talk to her. Yeah, come in.
So
Here.
Iris, and then as you step through it, behind you. As you walk in, you see Hero in her meditation pose, and you notice that as she sort of opens her eyes and looks in your direction, that they are now jet black and glossy.
Hero, I came to check in on you. That was quite a harrowing fight we were in, and we wouldn't have been able to defeat the Kraken without your timely skills and aid. But I wanted to make sure you were all right after the encounter.
Puff out my chest a little bit at the compliment. I'm all right. Am I all right?
I mean, you don't feel any different, except there's that still sort of lingering attraction to the Darkstone that you felt before, and you still kind of have this sense that you really don't want it out of your sight. You want to know where it is at all times.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm fine. A little familiar with the kind of place this thing comes from, but other than that, maybe just feeling nostalgic.
Your eyes.
What's wrong with my eyes?
I can just see this in like a comic book panel where she's got like this big zoom in on her eyeballs, and she's like, "What's wrong with my eyes?"
So I will use a cantrip to kind of show a reflective surface so that you can see.
Okay.
I think that's something I can plausibly.
I mean,
weird.
yeah, like you could do like an illusory version of her face back at her. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that's different.
You're sure you're all right?
I feel fine.
At some point, I think we need to take the Darkness Stone and let it reconnect with the others, so that we don't have to worry about that later if we need to use all the stones we have to power up the ship to its full capabilities.
Well, I mean, do we want to see if this will help the ship at all? Like, I just got familiar with it, but it doesn't take long to do it again.
No hurry. At some point, though, I'm also a bit concerned. Mikon spoke at great length about the supposed alliance. I say supposed because I haven't seen any of these things. Between the first and the Lord of Dark. I don't think it concerned. I'm not for certain not that the Lord of Shadows can use it, considering they of
You had a really good monologue going, but
would you know anything about that? Your serves to protect, right, correct?
We understood about 56% of that, bro. You were breaking up pretty hard.
I think
my mic was stuck. I just basically know if the Shadow Lord. I wasn't sure if it can use this or not, and does her order know anything more about it?
Excuse me. Yeah, what does? Because the only time I've had a run-in with this thing is when we closed the portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, does my order know anything about it?
You recall part of the training that you received from the Sentinels of Peace was obviously along the lines of gaining the abilities to manipulate the light, was specifically how to oppose the darkness. Now, of course, they mentioned the Lord of Darkness just in sort of like a pantheon kind of way. And they mentioned that he existed, but nothing so specific that you'd be able to use it to answer this question. You might be able to ask the librarian, though.
Oh yeah, the librarian.
The librarian at the Sanflosted? Okay. Well, nothing specific enough to help with that. I can ask somebody. Although I don't know, I don't think I ever got a response from the last note that I sent. Did they ever get back? Did they ever respond to me when I asked them to, tell Ronnie about the stones that we saw on the ship?
When was the last time you checked the parchment?
No.
Okay. What was your last communication?
I wrote to. I think I addressed it to the master, but I don't. Whoever had the parchment. If they could tell Ronnie that we were actively with the weather, and at that point we thought it was the real divination stone. So I had said we are with the weather and the divination stone on the ship.
Okay. Because at the time Ronnie was still on the island. Okay. You see a response in the librarian's hand that says investigating. And then there's a bit of room, and he responds, the master says we have no means of communicating across that great a distance without present means.
Good to know.
And see that kind of trails off, and there isn't really a response. Extremely recently, however, like as if, so you see that response maybe several days old in terms of like the ink being dry and having, had some time to cure. A lot more recently, though, like a lot more vibrant in terms of color of the ink on this page, you actually see they are moving.
Just they are moving.
They are
Not
moving.
that we are moving. They are moving.
They are moving. And then afterward it says, contact us immediately.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, hey, you know what? We can find out about that maybe. And then I'll keep an eye out for anything that seems similar to the big shadowy guy we saw. I gotta... Yeah, I'll start scribbling a response.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is she's got, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody use it before. So I'll leave it at that, and I guess leave the room.
Okay.
I will inquire.
All right. What do you write?
I'll say, I really hope this isn't super old. What's up?
You wait for several seconds, and you actually see Hero. Is that you?
Yes. I'm using up as little paper as I can, by the way.
Yes.
Except for you to write out, ugh.
You see in large letters, good exclamation point. And then following after several seconds, you see written out, it seems the Lightstone has done its work. They are leaving.
Is that all?
Well, do you want any more information?
Well, I mean, that's good. I will write, well, that's good. I was worried there was an emergency.
He responds, well, ellipsis. And he says, they seem to have a specific target now. And then he writes, southwest.
Yeah.
Which would be, if that's, because that's at the kind of the southern or the southeastern tip of the dome, or the dip, right, on the map.
Yeah, the rim.
So southwest. I need to find my map. Hang on.
So for reference, just to make it easy on everybody, your current location, the monastery at Sanflosted would be northeast of you.
They're coming here.
So they're coming here. Cool. I will write, Okay, that's an emergency.
How long ago was that too?
Yeah. When did they?
We're
start
just sailing along and like ah.
Well, that's
Nikon comes out for a second.
Can I ask? Yeah. How long ago did they start moving?
He gives you an estimation in time that equates to more or less the time that you touched the Darkstone.
Oh, okay, so not too long. Okay. I'm not even gonna bother like capping that off. I'm just gonna leave the room and go find probably the first person from my party I can find.
Okay. Everyone's on the bridge. Who would you like to talk to?
If they're all here, then I will just talk to them all. I'll
Great.
hold up the parchment. We have a little bit of a problem. Probably.
All of you now see her eyes glistening black.
To be
That's
fair,
not
I'm
the problem
probably.
I'm referring to.
Bring an apron. Long. Like stuff like that was working.
Eye wash station.
So I just got a response from my people back up at the monastery. Looks like the darkness they were fighting against up there has departed. And it's maybe coming this way.
Huzzah. Oh.
That's the best, like, yay! Oh, no.
Celebrated too soon. I don't know for sure. The direction they seem to be moving is just our same direction, so.
Ooh, it appears that my concerns were valid then.
If they ruin my meringue, I'm gonna be mad.
Yes! Give me a cooking check. I want to see how well that meringue is coming.
So do I.
Is that performance probably?
No, it's the cooking skills, which
That's
you haven't.
turpentine, Rocky.
I have a question, actually, Rocky. How long have you trained as the cook? How many successes have you had?
I don't think I've done any.
Oh no. Okay, go ahead and see how well you're doing.
Just
I don't have
Where,
cooking.
where did we get fresh eggs?
We got rations from the sunken ship.
Didn't we also get some
That included eggs?
I don't know. I don't know what Rocky's cooking with.
So you did find some provisions aboard the sunken ship, but also Astra brought as much as she could from the maelstrom. So you guys are working with like actual food.
I don't have cooking as an available skill, so just like a dex check or something.
No, I mean, like, I guess how would Rocky approach cooking? Which ability score would he use?
Oh, strength, definitely.
Okay, you're gonna beat that dough. You're gonna beat it.
He grinds his own grain with his fists.
If that's a strength check, I got a 25.
Okay. The meringue has it's made of the right stuff. But it's like the whole bowl has now been like frothed over, and it's no longer kind of meringue. It's more like butter.
To be fair, Rocky wouldn't know what meringue is, so.
Just because it's I keep missing it. I think Charles in chat made a check.
Okay. So Charles, I take it when you say he, you're talking about the female character Hero.
Seriously, this whole time?
Yes.
Wow. All right. My bad.
So, oh shoot, I got a hole in my shirt now. Yes. Okay. 30 medicine. Hero, you have a mole folk shoving his nose in your face. Are you gonna allow that?
I'll glare at him, but there are other important things to do, so I'll just kind of try to ignore him.
Okay.
And just kind of indicate the parchment.
Right. So he of course doesn't care about the parchment, continues to shove his face in yours. What you get from a 30 medicine check is that this is not natural. And because it is not natural, you would probably need to actually roll an Arcana check to understand what's going on. You successfully, with a 30, you successfully determine this does not result from the natural function of Hero's body.
But is she actually, she, there we go.
She?
Sorry. This whole time I thought it like ill or Like physically weakened?
As far as the medicine check is concerned, you don't detect anything, other than the strain of having just been in a battle and trying to adjust to sea travel. No, I mean, it doesn't look like she's experiencing any symptoms that would indicate she's diseased in any way.
Okay. Well, let's try that then. 15.
15. It's easy enough for Bran to realize that this is in some way connected to the Darkness Stone.
Interesting.
Like you can sense the magical aura of her eyeballs, and it's giving off a very faint version of the same kind of aura coming from the Darkness Stone.
When you have a minute, I would like to visit with Darkstone.
Oh man, now everybody's gonna have black eyes.
Listen, it's for the party, so sure. But I feel like we have more pressing matters. Anybody have any questions that I should maybe ask them directly, because this could be pretty bad. I don't know how fast any of these things travel, so who knows when they'll get here, if they're heading here. No?
Do you know how many, or just a bunch?
Pretty much what was left after everything we were helping them fight up there. So a lot, probably.
I feel like there's still a lot.
It sounds like it. They said that the Lightstone did its job, and they left. But they were coming to a very particular point, which I think is here, maybe.
I recall, though, they were marching and were flying. So we got that.
I was there. How did the Legions of Darkness travel?
Exactly as Bran said, they marched and they flew.
Oh.
I was going to say, I thought the captains were able to fly, right?
Yeah, they were riding like these huge. So the fell beasts, the things that the gosh, what are they called? The Nazgul.
Yeah, there we go.
Those things, but made out of pure darkness.
Oh, so it's not quite as quickly as, like, I don't know, you'd think magical darkness could travel.
Well, also keep in mind that what allowed them to lay the siege to Sandflowstead in the first place was the fact that there was that miasma of darkness pouring out of the gate. That miasma went away, and so now they're kind of resorting to slinking into the shadows wherever they can find them, just for the sake of being out of the sunlight. That means that they would probably be traveling by night, and they would probably be traveling underground as much as possible to avoid the sunlight. That would, of course, slow them down in terms of flight if they're traveling underground. But as far as being able to fly, so long as it's not light out, they could theoretically fly as quickly as any other flying creature of their type.
Good to know. Well, maybe it's not quite as immediate a panic as I maybe thought, but we should keep our eyes up.
So they don't need the Lightstone anymore.
Ronnie was on top of that one, man. She's like, okay, so we get that back, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
actually,
said-
I'm thinking the same thing.
I will actually.
Gonna have-
I'll get the parchment back down to where I can write on it, and I will write. Do you still need the Lightstone, or can we put it with the others?
You wait for several seconds. The response comes back. The master is true to his word if you need it, now that Sandflowstead does not have the darkness at its gates. He is, of course, willing to relinquish it into your care.
Good news, Ronnie. Looks like you might get that back if we can make our way up there somehow without running into the darkness as it comes the opposite way. But they say we can have it back.
He
Have to make a wide berth.
he adds, would you like us to send that by warp mail?
Oh. I don't know how warp mail works, but it sounds good. I will just say yes.
Okay. So he will. You wait for several minutes, and you get. You notice that the parchment says "sent."
Hold, please. I don't know what's supposed to happen. Um, Anybody feel anything pop into their pockets?
I don't know. I check my pockets.
Anybody
No,
know anything
nothing.
about warp mail?
I reach into my bag of holding. Is it there?
No.
Did he give you a tracking number?
I don't know if
So lazy.
they're monks. They don't have the funds for that extra kind of shipping stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been to Uzoria. You visited the Warp Guild. You've seen the posters. You know how this works. Yara, especially since you've been there and literally attempted to set up a guild. The guild, the guild masters specifically are given access to certain privileges that allow them to, perform the usual duties of their guild. And while you were there, one of the things you became familiar with was, in addition to the Warp Guild providing the Zebo transportation around the city, you also know that there are ways to deliver packages to wherever you need to. It's too bad that we don't have Kathy around, because Kathy had literally set up an arrangement with the Warp Guild to have with the Time Guild through the Warp Guild to have the Time Stone leveled up at certain intervals if the money was paid. So this is how that happens. Basically, somebody from the Warp Guild is given the task, and they literally teleport their way to you and deliver the package. What you also remember, of course, is, along the lines of what Kathy has already given you, Ronnie, it does cost something. So you'll have to pay for the delivery upon delivery. But so far, nobody has appeared, it seems. It must be not as quick as instantaneous.
If we don't see it in the next, 15 minutes, I will right back.
Okay.
Until then,
what are you guys doing?
Huh?
Yeah.
I'll just cap it off and say thank you. We'll let you know if we don't get it, and I'll fold up here. I'm gonna make it a point to maybe check that thing every morning and every night.
Okay. So we'll just assume that's part of your routine.
Yeah.
Great.
Seeing as how we have hostiles coming to our location and we don't know how quickly we're going to be here, I will basically make an announcement to the crew that the enemy is coming for us, and we must prepare the ship accordingly. So,
okay.
Our bosun Flisbit will have to prove his worth quickly here.
Speaking of which, bosun Flisbit will now make his bosuning check.
And your ship has broken in half.
He comes back and boldly announces, Astra will translate, and she says, it appears that he has been around the ship a little bit and sort of discovered how it works. It's taking a little bit of time for him to sort of assimilate. This is a very different ship than one that we are used to, but understandably, it might happen to anybody. Flisbit says that he has found a couple of things that need to be worked on. It will take him, and she sort of goes back and talks to him for a second, and she's like, it is either 3 hours or 10 days. I'm not entirely sure which. But he will continue working on it to make sure that they are not the problem.
Flisbit, let us make that closer to the former. Or the latter. Whatever, however that works. 3 hours.
And he lifts up a huge sledgehammer, puts it over his shoulder, and begins walking off.
Do we want to take a short break since it is 8:40?
Yes, sounds good. So we'll come back here in about 5 minutes.
You there?
Actual leisure.
I wonder, can we take like maybe a minute and see if we can sort out his camera issues?
Yeah.
It's beyond that.
Maybe a minute and a half.
No, he's kind of giving me some tips that this happened about the time that I did my last 10 update. So I'm going to look into some stuff later. And apparently that is an issue with some of the ASUS ones, is they're saying that Windows 10 has issues with it. So I'll take care of it later. Unless you really want to see my beautiful face.
I mean, we always want to do that. All right. Let me know when we're back.
We are back.
Excellent. Okay, so we have Flisbit marching off to go take care of the ship. Let's see, who else has... Rocky, you have successfully made butter. And that has resulted in everybody having something to put on their toast. So there's that.
What do I need to do to become the cook? Like Chad's becoming the captain. What do I need to do to become the cook?
You would need to make some successful checks. So full training is basically 3 days worth of successful checks. So right now you've made a strength check, and I'm counting it because it's hilarious. But theoretically, it would be like either a wisdom check or an intelligence check, whichever one you would prefer. And then 3 days of successful checks would train you as the cook, and then you would become proficient with cook's tools.
Okay. So tomorrow I need to make another check.
Correct. And there goes Charles. Okay. Do we have anybody? So that was our first progs doing the quartermaster, Flisbit doing the bosun. Hello, Charles. Oh my god.
Hey, there we go.
Your hair's gone.
Yeah. It's almost like you exist.
I know.
This is great.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah. Wasn't working last week either. Anyways.
Cool. Great. Now we have the whole Brady Bunch on screen. Awesome. Okay. So if there's anything else you guys would like to do today, you may do it. In about 15 minutes, when Hero said that she wanted to double check, the package hasn't arrived yet. Do you communicate anything on your parchment?
If nobody present can explain why warp mail would take that long, then yes.
Yara knows that there is a little bit of a lag as far as deliveries are concerned.
Yeah, but
sent.
When you think of warp, you think immediately. So like 15 minutes is a lot longer than just a lag, it feels like.
Right.
And this is kind of important.
Ask her where she sent it. Maybe she sent it to the wrong address.
I'll unroll the parchment enough again to write. Nothing yet. Where did you send it?
Okay. The response comes back. We've told the Divination Guild to divine your location. It seems we're having some kind of interference.
Do we think? I'll let everybody see that response. We don't think that maybe. I don't know, with the divination stone cause interference with divination.
I'm more thinking that you just can't look or teleport inside the key.
That's not a bad point. We're traveling right now with it. Should we stop off on like a precipice and just have somebody step out and see if it comes?
I like it.
We kind of need.
I
feel like that stone's important enough.
I suppose not. I suppose it won't hurt anything to just go ahead and stop. So I'll issue a command for coming to a stop.
Okay. And then I lost my dice.
Ah!
So Prague looks around on the map to see if he can find any nearby islands. He unfortunately, again, has the map now. This time, 90 degrees in the opposite direction. And Hero, as you see him struggling, you readjust the map again. And if you'd like, you can take a look at it yourself, see if you can find one.
I'll give him the chance to to reclaim his dignity.
Okay, well, he made his attempt and he can't find one.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah. Okay.
He can't find his dignity.
We're using the
Yes, you can't find that either.
We're using the
What's that?
navigator's tools, right?
Yeah. Are you proficient with navigator's tools? If you've made at least 3 successful checks, you should be.
I don't know that I have.
Okay.
I don't know that we've even used it 3 times.
Yeah, go ahead and make this straight up then. Plus wisdom, I think.
I'm gonna use my inspiration on that because it was abysmal.
Abysmal.
Okay, max inspiration. That's good. So, 9 plus 14.
Okay. Luckily, you are able to read. The charts are fairly large, but they do encompass the entirety of the Siren Sea. You are able to successfully locate where you are now based on the readouts that the key is giving you on your position with the stars. Like the key can essentially like project holographically what the night sky would look like, regardless of what time of day it is. So you're able to use that pretty efficiently. You do see that there is a relatively small island somewhere nearby, and if you are interested in getting out and stepping on dry land, you are welcome to do that.
Yeah. If it won't take us long to get to it and then get going again, I'll
No.
indicate it.
All right. So you pointed out.
Yep.
Captain has issued the stop order. I assume that's where we're close. You see the key sort of begins very, very Harry Potter-esque with the ceiling of the main hall. You see the clouds above you start to kind of darken and sort of gain a more intense, sinister look as you approach this island. And Yara, you see that the divination stone immediately pings, and you get a reading.
Okay.
The bird appears, the quaddle.
Yeah.
And you see it sort of raise its head and look in your direction out of the side of its eye. And you hear, because you are attuned. Well, I guess you were attuned to the divination.
You've got warp mail.
I mean, basically. No, it actually says Tolug has been located.
And where would that be?
It appears to be coming from the island nearby.
Excellent. Let's.
Sorry, Tolug. I apologize. I'm getting my own words mixed up.
I
He
would have
said-
never noticed.
The divination stone actually said Trobul.
Trouble.
And you recognize that as
That's lucky.
The Weatherstone?
yes.
Okay, well, still missing the Lightstone, but
Well, but we're gonna see if that island is the closest thing we can try to see if maybe the key's interrupting it.
okay.
If it's on land, maybe it'll appear.
All right. Crew, we have a location on the Weatherstone. We'll be heading toward that island.
Again, as you get closer, you see that the cloud need to intensify. I'm remembering those memes that just say clouds intensify.
Yeah.
And then you actually, the divination stone says lightning bolt incoming. And almost immediately afterward, you have like about 6 seconds to react before you see what the divination stone predicts sort of being displayed on the arcane holograms of a lightning bolt striking.
Oh, crap.
How would you like to respond?
I mean,
With panic, probably.
Okay, everybody roll initiative.
I'm going to touch Rocky.
I would counter if I could, but I don't know if I can counterspell that with as quickly as it came in.
Nice.
25 to 20.
Yeah.
22.
Oh,
I'm-
hold on. I rolled really high. 26.
Hold on.
Oh,
I
26?
26.
Oh my gosh.
actually got 27.
What?
Yeah.
How did you get 27?
I got an 18. I got +4 because of my dex, and I have +5 for the alertness feat.
So it's
Yeah.
like Ronnie reacts, and in like anime style, you see Yara like time slows down, and Yara like jumps ahead of her by like 1 second.
No, we're
okay.
like both reacting very quickly.
Anybody else 25 to 20?
22.
Okay. All right, 15 to 20.
17.
I heard an 18 from Dave,
Yes.
and then 17.
Jareth, 17.
Okay, so Rocky, 18. Jareth, 17.
My 17 is the lowest.
That 17 is pretty good.
Yeah, we all roll
Brandy.
really well.
Crap.
Brandon,
I was really
you
happy
also
when I
had
got that
17?
17. I was like, all right, I'm going first.
Okay, so I assume, Jareth, your dexterity is higher than Brand's.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. All right, so we have Yara, Ronnie, Hero, Rocky, and then Jareth, and coming in last with a 17. Holy crap,
Wow.
man. The remainder of the crew will act on a 12. And then the lightning bolt itself will strike then. Great. All right, Yara, with the time you have, split second reaction, what do you do?
Can I counterspell it?
Let's go ahead and give it a shot. You've tried this before, so I'll give you advantage on the roll. Go ahead and roll Arcana.
Just a 17 on the Arcana. I did not roll so great on that.
Okay. With the memory you have of what you did before, anything that you have to target, you know is going to need to be directed from inside of something that you can point. So right now you're inside of the key itself. The closest thing you have to a point is the nose of the key, and the lightning bolt is coming from above you.
I don't suppose.
If you were inside of the bit, you might have better luck.
Yeah, but do I have enough time to get there?
That's the question. Your movement speed inside the key is, because of the universal gravity, full, so that'd be 30 feet. You know what? I'll say let's go for it. Let's give it a shot. So we'll say that you were close enough. Shouldn't be too difficult. You climb inside the bit, and because it's connected magnetically to the rest of the key's systems, it is currently operational. So at this point, you've used your movement. Your action will be to cast Dispel. And how does that go?
So just using Dispel. I have to make an intelligence. The caster must succeed on an intelligence saving throw. When I successfully counter. Never mind. So it's just the I gotta look at the base ability.
Right. The Dispel ability says you attempt to dispel a single active magical effect if the spell or sphere effect on the target has a spell level or required spell points equal to or lower than half your proficiency bonus. It ends. What's your proficiency bonus?
It's not a chew. It's
I think it's 5 for us, right?
Yeah, 5 proficiency bonus.
If the spell or sphere effect on the target is equal to or lower than half your proficiency bonus. Yes. All of you watch as Yara climbs into the bit and, acting almost entirely on instinct and gut, like you hear the systems of the bit suddenly become operational and begin functioning, and then you watch from inside as the arcane hologram projects what's going on outside, and you see the silhouette of the bit now orienting itself and firing this arcane beam at the lightning bolt. Very thin, almost invisible beam that you kind of, those of you who are familiar with magical effects.
I have to spend a spell point to do it because the base ability is only 10 minutes. So you augment an action. So I did have to note that.
All right. So you use a spell point. And what happens essentially is that, Yara, you would understand what's going on. You're basically trailing out a bleed of magical, of like, you're like forcing the mana out of the area so that it becomes essentially an equalization point. So the magic that's being used to produce the lightning bolt, which in fact you know is coming from the Weatherstone at this point, it basically arcs where it would strike the key. It arcs in the air and turns, and then like localizes onto the tip of the bit and strikes there instead. But as it meets the bit, it essentially meets the pocket of localized like mana void, and then fizzles into nothing. So you have successfully dispelled the lightning bolt.
Yeah, that's my action then. It was just I probably used the reorienting gravity to get over to the stupid bit fast enough.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like running up the side of the ship. Whee!
Yeah, exactly. That was Yara at 27. Ronnie.
So the lightning take care of.
That lightning bolt is taken care of. Yes.
There are more. I thought there was just one.
Well, that was the only one that was going at you from the clouds this moment. Yes.
All right. Can I look at the clouds, see if I can. Well, you mute. Thank you. Can I try to see where it's coming from? See who's wielding it?
Sure. So this would be interfacing with the keys system, specifically with the divination stone, because that's the thing that's giving you the ping in the first place. So this would probably be an Arcana check for Ronnie.
Why can't I just look out the window?
I mean, you could. You if you want to, you can stick your head out the porthole.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Go ahead and give me a perception check at disadvantage, because number one, it's super far away, and number two, there's a bunch of weather effects happening in the meantime.
13.
Okay. You notice that there is this sort of ethereal white translucent glow coming from the beach. You also see that there are what looks like a very struggling campfire as the winds are now starting to pick up toward the island. That's about all you can get with the roll that you made.
Okay. I relay that to everyone. I think it's coming from the beach. That's it. That's all.
Okay. That's Ronnie's turn. Hero, you're up.
How far are we from the island?
The answer I usually give you guys is about 100 feet, so we'll call it that.
Okay. And we're moving towards it still, or are we stopped?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're continuing to move, yes.
Okay, well, I can't really do anything from a distance, so I will use my action as the help action. And just if we get struck, with the intent that if we get struck by anything, if anybody falls or starts to, maybe, I don't know, go towards the door, I'll try to catch them, etc.
Okay. So you're readying yourself for assistance.
Yeah, and that goes for party or for our new crew. So pretty much anybody who's near me and I can help.
Sounds good. All right, Rocky, you're up.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I can't really do much from a distance, so I will just also ready an action to help someone out.
Okay, punch something if necessary. Jared,
Sure.
what are you doing?
All of these people could activate stones on the ship, couldn't they? Like
They
the
could.
protection spheres
About to say, do we have the protection spear slotted?
and the. Yeah, I put all of my stuff in. Protection sphere is actually my little bird or a dragon thing.
Yeah, so Finny the Drake is currently curled up, sort of snoozing away inside of one of the slots.
So if either of you
Okay.
want to, go-
I would
go-
recommend you use the protection sphere to activate the shields of the ship, please.
Jareth, it is actually your turn, so if you'd like to, you can do that.
I will do that.
Awesome. You'll go over to the protection stone, and Finny wakes up, yawns, and as you interact with the power that the protection stone offers, you're able to trigger the shields.
Hooray!
So this gives you, I believe, the hull feature, the reinforced hull. You double the hull's hit point maximum.
I would assume you'd wanted to go with the resistance one.
Oh, you can do that too. What is it? Is it scaled sails or defiant sails?
I believe it's the Defiant that gives you the resistance, but he has to pick what it is.
Resistance to one of the damage types. Scaled sails. So you would trigger the scaled sails, and then you would assign it lightning, I would assume.
Yep.
You get resistance to lightning damage. Perfect. All right. That then brings that down to Bran.
Very good. I will use my Alteration Stone to do an Adaptive Barrier.
Okay.
Also taking lightning, and since it's already resistant, it now is not yet immune, but anyone can use their reaction to grant it a resistance.
Okay.
So
because it gets immunity instead. Yep, great. And it says once the ability is used, it cannot be used again for 1 hour. The resistance, let's see. One damage type that attack would deal for 1 minute. So once you activate it, it'll last for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. All this going on, the crew now will take their turn and take orders from the captain. Captain! What are your orders?
Yeah, I'm not really sure because I don't know what's attacking us.
This is sort of a 6-second situation. What would Yara say within the 6 seconds?
Yeah, just defensive actions, and I don't really know what's going on. And I've spent most of my energy trying to counter the spell was coming. Was about to obliterate us.
You mumble, not mumble. You shout something like evasive maneuvers, and Astra starts shouting orders. That brings it down to the bottom of the round. By the way, the lightning bolt would have struck on 19, so the fact that you dispelled it before it got there was perfect. Astra will command the ship to begin sort of like doing a little serpentine pattern, but still going toward the island. The crew members begin to man the battle stations essentially just in case. She sort of instinctively knows sort of what to do next. And so she's got her 2 bros, Mortag and Dundren, each on one of the spire shot. They've taken a little bit of time to kind of adjust, and they think that that's sort of where they would want to be. You see Flisbit actually kind of running around from one location to the next, just kind of like taking a wrench in one hand and kind of just waving it at people, trying to like encourage them and help them work faster. So he's also taking the aid action. That will be back up to so at the end, yes, bottom of the round, the divination stone comes up with another readout, and you notice, Yara, that it now replicates the readout from the bridge into the bit. So you're now able to see a very small version of what you would normally see on the bridge inside the key itself. And it shows that now, because you are on the top of the ship, but physically facing, like, your up is now down, through the floor of the bit, you're able to see the sky above you. This is all very interesting to describe. You see that there is a pattern to how the electrical surges are going to occur. The divination stone is able to anticipate them split seconds before they happen. And so you notice that there's a buildup in a specific location. And right now, Astra, on her usual course with the serpentine movement of the ship, you notice that it will actually get directly under one of these spots within the next round. So there is that. And then that happens on the island. Ronnie, you still have your head stuck out, right?
No, I pulled it back in to tell everyone
Okay.
what I saw.
So from within the ship, you notice that the arcane holographic system isn't able to duplicate that ethereal glow that it saw on the beach. So it's like you poked your head up, you saw it, and then as you poked your head back down again, it disappeared. You are still able to see the campfire because it does recognize that and it's able to duplicate it. And it is apparently still struggling. You can see just barely in the flicker of the campfire light that there is a pretty spacious tent that looks like it's been erected on the island, but that's about all you can see. Oh, there does also appear to be a fairly weak-looking raft that is now sort of taking some waves as the wind begins to pick up, and it's sort of like jostling. It looks like it's moored to the island. It's moored to like a fallen tree or something. So it's not going anywhere, but it looks like it's getting thrashed around pretty well. That brings us back up to the top. Yara.
I'm going to tell my first mate. Evasive turn. You're taking us underneath one of the lightning bolts again. One of its surges.
What is it?
I guess I'll just describe where it is real quick.
Okay. With a simple couple of movements on the display, you're actually able to interact between your display and the one on the bridge. So if you indicate on yours where it's coming from, she'll see it.
Yeah, I do just that.
Okay. So she'll
And
see
then
it.
I guess I try looking out of the bit now and looking at the island to see if I can evaluate. I guess I see the same stuff that
Yeah,
Ronnie just saw.
what I described to Ronnie about what you can see from inside the bit is true. You heard Ronnie say that there was something on the beach, but all you see is that fire that's getting blown about, the raft that's getting tossed, and then the faint outline or the faint suggestion of a spacious tent on the shore. The clouds continue to darken. You continue to track the electrical patterns in the clouds.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to counter the entire weather movement.
I will also say, I apologize, because you guys had sails up, and because already had some momentum on the cruise turn, they would have moved closer to the island. So you're now not 100, but I think 50. I think that's the movement of the key with sails.
With wind, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are now 50 feet away from the shore. Anything else you want to do on your turn, Yara?
I'm guessing that's pretty much it. Directing.
Okay, so you're
I guess I'd probably be an aid to help her redirect. So I shout out that, and then I do like an aid to help her on the navigation, get us
cool.
out of the way of this next blast.
Ronnie, you're up.
I'm trying to figure out if the warp stone could help us act like the ship be erratic so it's harder to hit, but I don't think so.
Let's see what the warp stone can do.
I don't understand what boarding portal does.
Yeah, I've actually reconsidered that. Basically, it allows you to teleport a bunch of people from the ship onto a neighboring ship.
Oh, okay.
Does it have to be a ship, or can it be an island?
It could be within 30 feet.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. Hang on. Using Misty Step, whatever that is, whatever distance that is.
It's your movement.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it will probably have to be within 30 feet in order for it to happen.
yeah, I don't know. I can't really do much. We've already done protection on the ship, right?
Mm-hmm. You've got 2 layers of protection at this point. You've got the protection stone and the alteration stone both operating.
Actually, that boarding portal could be kind of cool. You can all just like jump.
Yeah, but we're not close enough. We're 100 feet away.
You could ready an action because the crew is going to operate the ship to get within the whatever it is, 60 feet, or within 50 feet. So they'll move again on this next turn. They might be slowed down a little bit because they're trying to avoid the lightning bolt, but they should get within range for you to do a 30-foot jump.
Oh, hold on. Well, if we get within 30 feet, I can just jump out of the ship.
That's true.
We're within 50 feet, though, aren't we?
You are within 50 feet.
I guess
what I'm saying, Ronnie, is if you use the warp stone, you could take not only you, but everybody else with you is the idea.
And you wouldn't have to swim.
Yeah, but I'm also reading Horrifying Howl, and that looks pretty cool. Oh, that's on board or within 300 feet must succeed a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw, or the creature takes 4d6 psychic damage and is frightened for 1 minute.
Ooh.
Once this ability has been used, it cannot be used again for 2d6 hours.
Is this the kind of frighten that makes them run? Because if they run into like the forest and lose them, then that's
No.
They would also. I think it just means they can't come closer to you.
Right. So they changed the way frightened works. If it causes them to run, it will say that. And I don't think it says it.
This will maybe have them think twice about sending lightning bolts after us.
it's true.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
All right. So I roll the d6.
For the.
Or does it make it safe?
So you were okay. So must succeed a DC 14 saving throw or take 46 psychic damage and be frightened for 1 minute. Okay, yeah. So I'll make my wisdom saving throw. You go ahead and deal the damage.
Oh, I got snake eyes. 10.
Oh my gosh. So the Mind Stone, Artax, activates, and there is this mental shriek where before you've known Artax to be very polite when it comes to mental intrusion. You feel him coming out of this ship with the force of a battering ram shoving down the door. Very much, I'll huff and I'll puff and blow your house in. And in the cacophony of the storm, suddenly this psychic shockwave just barrels across the entire island. It's really not that big. And you don't see what happens, but you take it whatever was on the shore of that island isn't having a good day.
Cool. I'm going to roll to see how long it's for us to use that again. It was
Very good.
7 hours.
Okay. So in 7 hours, you'll be able to summon Artax to do that again. All right. That was Ronnie down to Hero at 22.
So we're still 50 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
Does it usually to drop a distance? Does it usually take movement out of that, or like say we got above the beach and I wanted to like drop? How would that use my movement?
Yeah, I mean, you would not be spending any movement. You would probably either take damage if it was high enough, or with an acrobatics check, land safely. But if you're just talking about vertical distance, no, there's no limit to how far you can fall. Well, I guess you would fall about 60 feet within a turn.
I'm not used to calculating drop damage because I used to have slow fall.
Yes. It would be a d6 per 10. So theoretically up to
66?
No, 10 up to 10 d6 damage if you fall from a 60-foot height.
Okay, yeah, that's too much. In that case, if I was going to use my action to move, I would like to hold a move action. Is that possible?
Okay.
If we get to the island and then get to a safe-ish distance, like 20 feet, I'd be fine dropping from. Okay. I'll just use my action to move if we get into that area.
I will also say this: the key, as long as it's powered, only. Well, no, I'm sorry, I take it back. Even when it is not powered, it only floats 5 feet above the ground automatically. You have to tell it to rise if you want it to go higher. So theoretically, even if this thing went to ground, it would hover 5 feet off the ground automatically.
Sure.
So it's not going to go up into the air by default.
Okay, well that's me. I will just hold a move action.
Okay, very good.
Although I'm curious, you said we had a long rest?
Yes.
When the day that I grabbed the Darkstone, you said I lost all connection to the light sphere. Was I able to make any checks at that rest to see if I got back to it, or no?
I assume that you would have experimented a little bit because it was obvious what happened, and you'd clearly be curious. Retroactively, what do you think Hero would have done to experiment and see what might happen?
Well, since I've never had to do it before, probably just have tried to meditate on it.
Okay.
Probably, well, I guess it would have had to be before I attuned to the Darkstone, though. So.
I mean, yeah, you could certainly have tried something before you attuned to the Darkstone. What would Hero have done?
Like I said, meditated on teachings at the monastery and trying to make that connection back.
Okay.
Mentally.
Let's go ahead and roll a retroactive Arcana check. Use Wisdom.
Thank God. Ooh, 23.
So, one part of the teachings that you remember from the Sentinels of Peace when they came in to teach your order the ways of the light was that darkness cannot dwell in the presence of light, but that in order to allow light to shine, one has to let it in. And these teachings remind you of sort of how it felt to go between outer darkness and the material world. And right now it feels, metaphorically speaking, it feels like your heart is in outer darkness, even if your physical presence is in the material world. So Hero can kind of take that information and conclude whatever she wishes.
Okay. All right.
Hero's going to ready the movement action. Rocky, you're up.
Okay, how far are we away from the island? Or from shore?
50 feet. 50 feet.
50 feet.
How far up, also? Is it just...
You're still floating on the surface of the water.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like any floating ship.
Awesome. That helps.
Probably couldn't join forces with Hero to throw her that far, could I?
Probably not, especially because she's already reserved her action to move herself.
Okay. I don't have anything that can get me that far or shoot that far. All right, can I see what's shooting the lightning at us at this point?
Through the arcane hologram interface of the key, there doesn't seem to be any indication from inside of where the lightning is coming from other than just the sky.
All right, is there anything I can do to make the ship go a little faster?
Sure, you could you could command it to move.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, the ship moves 50 feet. Hero, your ability triggers.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my action.
That is your action, yes.
All right, I'll be back in a few.
Great.
I'll just use my move action to drop to the beach and, I guess, make my way towards the campfire.
Okay, so as Astra is coordinating with everybody else, Rocky commands the ship to move. It moves. It sort of skids in to the side. Hero, you're able to basically come out the same iris that Ronnie did when she was peeking up to see what's going on. And because of the reversal in gravity, you sort of jump down and you come out of the key upside down, but then quickly, of course, flip over in the air to land appropriately. And then you book it to the beach, jump off the edge of the key, and then head onto land. What you meet as you get there is this scene. And if you'd like to make it bigger, you're welcome to do that. I'll sort of describe what's going on because there's a little bit more of this map than you're able to see on the screen. Let me go ahead and get my stuff off of it so I can show you all of it. There we go. Those go there. Okay.
Excuse
So I'll kind of move my camera a little bit so you can see more of it. So up here, you can see that there is a the raft that's sort of rocking to and fro is right here. This area here is the water. As you guys are approaching, the key is sort of parked on this side that's sort of approaching this beach area. You see that the campfire is down here, and I'll sort of point down a little bit so you can see that. There's the tent. The campfire is here. And then there's this little sort of stream that goes into the side. This is just a little sandy area that looks like it's been carved out where the sea has sort of been allowed to come in a little bit. So you guys are coming in from this side, and Hero, you probably land about here when you land on the beach. So I'll go ahead and put you there. Nope, that's Yara. Nope. There we go. So there's you right there.
And I would use my 30 feet to get as close to the campfire as I can.
Sure. So you'll come in this side, and then you jump off 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And that'll get you there. The campfire, of course, is like right here.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So that's Hero's turn. And Rocky just commanded it to move. That brings us closer. Jareth.
I will go ahead, and I see Hero leave the ship. I will go ahead and follow to give support.
Okay. In a very similar way to the way she ended up doing it, you once again dive through the iris feet first, and then you sort of right yourself as you come out on the other side. And you're welcome to join her on the main beach. How far would you like to go?
I'll stay 5 feet behind her.
Okay. So we've got Jareth coming in and hanging out right there. As you guys get this far, actually, you should be able to see what's going on the beach with some level of clarity. Jareth, because it's your actual turn, I'm going to describe the scene a little bit more to you so you kind of know what you're dealing with. You see literally a scared little mouse hiding at the edge of the tent. You see a red bandanaed pirate huddling on the other side of the tent. You see, have I got him? I do.
That mouse.
You see his monkey hanging out with him, like huddling under his feet. And then in the middle of this campfire area, you see what appears to be this spectral, and I'll get as close as I can so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. This spectral ghost-like image that appears to be hovering about 3 or 4 feet off the ground in the air, about here. And again, the campfire's about there. The campfire at this point, as it now begins to kind of like rain begins to come down a little bit, you see that the campfire is really struggling. It's going to be out in another minute or two. And as the darkness begins to close in, the light of this ethereal being begins to kind of materialize a little bit more. Of course, the rain completely not affecting it at all. Nevertheless, you see this gaping, sucking wound in its chest as if something massive has been shoved through the center of its torso. And was there anything else? Yes. You also see coming from underneath the tent flaps that pair of twins that you saw from the pirate ship before. And off one direction, you see the other guy from the pirate ship kind of over here. And then the lightning dendrite sort of off this direction.
So this is the remnants of the pirate ship we tore up.
Correct. That is what you see as you regain land. So I think you still have an action.
Yep. Okay. Good day, gentlemen. I'm glad to see you survived. Could you please cease and desist whatever activities you are currently doing, and maybe we can parlay?
The mouse, I won't say it online, but the mouse swears at you.
I shoot the mouse.
Oh, okay. Sounds great.
See, that was rude. I miss.
Okay. Sounds great. That brings us down to 17 Bran.
Alrighty. I will jump out, get as close as I can, and bury as many as I can.
Oh, okay. How would you like to do that?
I step out of the door, and then
Okay. Are you using a spell effect, a sphere effect?
I am, but honestly, I'm trying to figure out how close I can get with my little legs.
I mean, you would probably be at least 10 feet behind Jareth. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to the Spectre, 30, 35, 40 to the tent.
Okay. Cool. Yep, that makes sense. And then, so I have a range of 30, and it affects a 20-foot square.
Okay. All right. I have shapes for this.
30. Yeah, I should be able to catch quite a few in that. I mean, it's either going to be that or the twister.
Weather versus weather.
GM for player, please no more twister. Please no more.
Wow, that was fun.
It is fun.
It's fun to
Okay.
watch.
Let's see. This
Not
is
fun to be in, but fun to watch.
that is a 15 foot. That is a 20 foot. 20 foot square. I have shapes. So you'll go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then I assume you'd like to cover somewhere in here.
As many people as I can.
So you can get the mouse and the twins. You can get the mouse and the lightning dude. You can get the one of the twins, actually both of the twins and the scalawag.
Let's go with the lightning guy.
All right, so you've got the mouse and the lightning guy.
Yeah, that'd probably get.
Okay, that drops it there. Great. And so what's the effect?
Technically, I could do the ghost, but I'm guessing the ghost ain't gonna do jack.
You could,
but obviously, if he's floating, that's not gonna do nothing.
Right.
He makes a dex save, or he sinks down a foot.
Oh, okay, great. What ability are you using?
It's called Berry.
And is it under the Earth talents? The Earth package?
I feel like your pages are different than mine, though. But it was page. Yeah. Oh, dang it.
I'm just saying, like, is it under the Earth package? Yeah, there it is. Berry. Yeah. So you shoot the sands. The duration, the area becomes difficult terrain. Okay, so it's difficult terrain. A creature in the area must succeed on a strength saving throw or sink 1 foot into the sand. So they'll make their strength save.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, and your DC is?
Let me double check. I think it's 19.
Perfect. They both sink a foot into the sand. They become restrained until the sphere effect ends. A creature restrained may use its action to make a strength check against your sphere DC. On a success, it frees itself. Excellent. On a failure, they sink a foot deeper. Ooh. Oh, no. Once it's completely buried, they begin to suffocate. Well, that mouse is only 4 feet tall, so that's going to be interesting. Once a creature is completely buried, they suffocate, increases by... Okay, great. All right, I now understand your ability. I learned my lesson last time. All right. You've moved. You've done your action. Anything else?
No, I'm almost fine.
Okay. That was Bran at 17. The crew at 12. Astra is at the side of the beach. She's going to attempt to maneuver away from... Well, Rocky commanded the ship to move, which moved... I'll roll some dice. Let's see what happens. No special luck, so we'll say she still needs to roll to get out of the way. She may be moved into another pocket. Oh, natural 20. What you guys notice is as the ship is coming in, Astra adeptly adjusts to the situation on the fly as if she's done this for several years of her life. And as Rocky comes in, commands the ship to move, she quickly adapts and begins shouting orders in Organian, where she begins to sort of command everybody to do their thing. And Flisbit and Prague, along with our buddies Mortag and Dundren, all sort of brace themselves and begin manipulating the ship's systems so that the next lightning bolt that would fall, they're able to make the saving throw at advantage, basically. So they're using defensive maneuvers to avoid damage. And then, of course, you still have that immunity if you need to trigger it. Okay. That's that. They're continuing evasive maneuvers based on the orders that the captain have given them. And then it's going to be bottom of the round. The lightning bolt will fall. Is anybody available, and would they like to trigger the immunity on the ship? Who's still on the ship? Yara, I think you are. Ronnie,
Yeah, I did an 8 action though, so I don't think I have an action available.
I'm talking about in response, because it'll be a reaction.
Oh.
So
is it gonna come down on us, or were we able to get out of the way slightly?
The evasive maneuvers are what give you advantage on the saving throw. Basically, she's going to attempt to avoid getting hit as hard as she would normally have. But the lightning bolt's coming down at this moment. So you can either give the ship immunity, or you can just rely on the evasive maneuvers to save you.
We're going to rely on that, and I'm going to try to save that reaction for a time when it's more likely to smash us to bits.
Okay, sounds good. So as the lightning bolt drops, she will roll an advantage. She succeeds on the saving throw, which means that she's only going to be taking half damage from the lightning bolt.
Which, is it halved again because of the
resistance
going? Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll take a quarter damage is what it is.
Okay.
Let me see what we've got. Actually, it would be destruction. That's right. Because that's how that works. Nope, those are classes. Last type, weather. Not gale, it would be... Nope, lightning, here we go. Right. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you notice that her evasive maneuvers make it not as bad as it would normally have been. However, because the key is made of metal, it cancels out her advantage. Luckily, she rolled well enough that she was able to succeed despite that. So that was good. However, everyone aboard who is in contact with the key will need to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned. So this is Astra. Fine.
No, I don't make that.
Prague is not fine. Flisbit is fine. Both Mortag and Dundren, it looks like, were able to make it. So Prague has ironically been electrified by a lightning bolt from his own stone. And then obviously Yara would have as well. Ronnie and Rocky, since you guys are inside the key and in contact with it, you would need to make rolls as well.
What are we rolling?
You're making a Constitution saving throw.
I rolled a 24.
You're fine?
12.
You are also fine. All right. The result is what is it? There we go. 3 points of lightning damage to the ship. Because of all of the precautions, you have only taken 3 points of lightning damage to the ship. All right. So that is what happens at the bottom of the round. The winds intensify. Now it begins raining in earnest. The specter floating in the middle of the air appears at this point to be completely absent of any knowledge that anything else is going on. But those present now see that the actually, what is passive perception on Bran, Jareth, and Hero?
12.
Charles is not here. 15 Hero, you'll be able to notice that the center of the Spectre's torso, at the center of the Spectre's torso, you see this. Ooh, you're just back in time, Bran. What's your passive perception?
21.
Oh, perfect. So, Jareth, oh, there's too much rain going on. Hero, something's glowing in the center of that Spectre's chest. Bran, you identify at this distance and in this weather that the tiger's eye is centered in this thing's, what would be its heart, but now is no longer there because there's this huge gaping hole in it. It begins to sort of like, it kind of cracks its neck and turns in your direction. And you see that its eyes are now glowing with this sort of like amber colored, almost tiger's eye like light.
Wait, he looked past the other two and directly at me?
No, he just looks at all three of you.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh,
he
shit.
notices you as interlopers and
Okay.
focuses on you suddenly. It will take its turn. Ooh, that's a thing I can look up because I have reference material. I planned ahead. Yes. Yay. Okay. It is going to, as it looks at all of you, it cracks its neck and looks in your direction. Its mouth will sort of hang open. It will raise its left hand, and you'll see on it there's like this sort of like number 4 shaped spike at the end of its arm where there used to be a hand, and it will then like shove this thing forward at you, and it will immediately just kind of and like completely disappear in place while you all are watching. It will then we'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to appear immediately behind Hero, and then make an attack.
Uh-oh.
And it's going to do 19. What's your AC?
That hits. It's 18.
Okay. And it will deal 13. Nope. 8 points of piercing damage and 5 points of psychic damage as you feel the hook now piercing straight through your chest where your heart would be, and emerge this spectral hook now appearing out of your chest, and then you feel it ripping back through you as you investigate and find that there was absolutely nothing physical that passed through your body, even though it felt like this cold, icy stab straight through you.
Ouch. Did it become visible when it did that?
It did.
I'm gonna Hellish Rebuke it.
Great.
So dex save, please.
Yep. It fails.
Well, I rolled real shit. 9 points of fire damage.
Okay, it takes 9 points of fire damage. Excellent. I had to check its immunities. There it is. I have things. I am DM. I am prepared. Oof. All right. You said 9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It wails as its entire body is now consumed in flame, and it appears to now be on fire, but the fire takes the color of its own sort of whitish blue ethereal shape. So now it has a sucking chest wound, and it is on blue spectral fire.
Cool.
It makes another attack because it has multi-attack. It succeeds and responds by now. It deals you another 5 piercing damage, and this time, as you would normally be taking that psychic damage, you are instead engulfed in spectral flames, and you take 5 points of fire damage back.
Halved. Because I'm resistant.
Correct.
So
Yep.
2.
Yep. Well, it can't actually deal fire damage. That was mostly for like cinematic purposes. So it's psychic, but it takes the shape of fire.
Well, that feels like a learning moment.
Okay. That was its turn. And that brings it back up to the top of the round. Yara.
I'm stunned.
You are stunned. Does that mean you can't take any actions?
Let me double check. I gotta remember. Yeah, I think I'm just.
I hate that status. It's the worst status.
Yeah, it is the worst.
There's nothing that can cure it.
Incapacitated, can't move, and can speak only faltering.
Attack rolls against you have advantage.
Yeah.
You automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws. Oof! Ouch!
It doesn't say I don't get an action, though.
Incapacitated creatures can't take actions.
Oh, okay. Incapacitated. Yeah, it does. Okay, so I just lay there.
That's the thing that does it. Okay. So
Evasive actions.
Like you're feeling that lightning bolt flowing through you now. Luckily, you didn't take any damage, but you're still stunned. So you shake off stun at the end of the round. At the end of your turn, Ronnie, you're up.
Where is the bad guy who just stabbed Hero again? Right there. How far away is Hero from the ship from me?
So the ship is here, and you could go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to reach Hero.
I want to reach the bad guy. That's adjacent to Hero.
5, 10, 15, 20, and you'd be in melee.
Cool. I want to do that.
Okay. So you again
use
dive first out of the iris, and you land on top of the ship. You run and reach the bad guy.
Okay. I am going to use my Alchemist Help to attack. $17.
Will hit.
All right, and I had it filled with acid. No, I'm sorry, poison. I had it filled with poison. I didn't use it.
Okay.
I filled it. So that's. Oh, that's just the blade. I forgot about sneak attack. So it takes 3 slashing damage, 14 poison damage, and is it? Oh, damn it! Is it gone already? $25 points of sneak attack damage.
Brutal. Okay. I seem to recall sneak attack adding to the type of damage you would normally deal with the weapon. So I think the damage you're dealing is slashing with the sneak attack.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? Okay, good. Because in this case, it happens to matter. It takes none of the poison damage. You watch as the poison flicks out of the sword, passes straight through it, and scatters on the sand. However, all of your slashing damage is dealt. So that's a total of what?
So I said 25 sneak attack. So.
And I think 3 slashing from the sword.
Yeah, so 28.
28 plus 9 is 37. It has taken a total of 37 damage. As Ronnie comes barreling out of the key to Hero's defense, seemingly. That concludes Ronnie's turn, I believe. So we're down to Hero.
Well, I don't like this guy. I want to. Can you show me how big a 15-foot radius sphere looks? I can never remember if it's
That's all right. Let's
pretty
see.
small or if it's pretty good size.
That's
I'm dumb, and
30 foot wide.
diameter and radius confuse me.
radius. Oh, 15-foot radius?
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
Oh, dang.
30
That's
feet
30
across
feet
is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's 30 feet across. Let me see if I've got something like that. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah. That's a 15-foot radius.
Cool. I'm going to break off from these guys. I'm going to go... I'd like to go down to the front of the tent.
Okay, so you're going to move out of melee with this guy.
Yeah.
He'll get an attack opportunity.
That's
Okay,
fine.
5, 10, 15 will get you right in front of the tent.
Yeah. And I want to cast a darkness.
Okay, where's that going to be?
It's 15-foot radius.
Centered on you.
I guess just centered on me, because it has to be melee, so it has to be right on me.
Okay.
Does that who does that get? Those 4?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's an action to do that, but it's going to be I'm going to augment it with 1 spell point, and it's going to be a creeping lethargy darkness.
Ooh, okay.
So, creatures that enter the darkness or start their turn within the darkness must succeed on a wisdom save, or be able to only take actions or bonus actions each turn, not both, until they start the turn outside of the darkness. If it fails and then starts the turn inside the darkness again, if they fail another wisdom save, they fall asleep for a minute.
Okay, so only an action or bonus action, not both.
If it fails the wisdom save, yes.
And your DC is?
18.
Okay, one of the twins succeeded.
Now this is, it is, I believe, at the start of their turn that they make the save.
Well, it said enters as well.
That's true.
And because you created it,
so, okay.
Because you created it, they entered it.
I won't say no.
So one of the twins saves.
Okay.
The rest of them fail.
Cool. Well,
including the monkey. Oh, poor little monkey.
That's fine. So until
Blast that monkey.
So for those 3, if they're still in the darkness on their next turn, they have to make a save again, and if they fail, they fall asleep for a minute.
Okay.
And I've spent 1 spell point on that. So.
Excellent. So you have run in, you have centered the darkness.
Also worth noting, any creature that has natural dark vision can see in it.
Okay.
Because it's not technically magical darkness, but yeah, it's not magical darkness for the sake of dark vision. If it has dark vision, it can see through it.
Very good. Okay.
I don't think I really have anything bonus action, so that's it. I think.
Okay.
I'll just
Um,
wink at the twins, wondering if they can see me.
yeah. As you using the abilities of the darkness stone, or the ones that come naturally from your
No,
fiendish
this is
nature?
mine.
So this is your fiendish nature working.
Yeah, so
All right.
so I lose a proficiency bonus or one proficiency point towards light sphere abilities.
I would say that you've actually remember that once you grabbed the dark stone, you lost all of the proficiency with the light sphere,
Oh right, yeah, you're right.
and you haven't gained that back.
Okay, then nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so like you are indulging in the darkness at this moment.
A lot of them.
It's yes.
What do you want me
There
to do?
are
I
a
have
lot.
a +0 proficiency bonus for the light sphere. I ain't gonna use it right now.
Yes, that is exactly what's going on. Okay, so that brings us down. Hero did her turn. That brings us down to Rocky.
Okay, Hero's turn completely changed what I need to do. Where is the where's the key at?
So it's up here, and you're able to easily get out of it and climb down onto the beach if you'd like.
Okay, and can you point to bad guys? I know where Ronnie is. There's a bad guy.
There's the Spectre. Here's
Okay.
Ronnie. This is Bran. That's Jareth. This is Hero. Shocking Pirate, Mouse Pirate, Twins Pirates, Buccaneer Pirate, and then Dude that direction, who was up on top of the rigging when you saw him before.
Okay. And there's no. Can I get? Gosh dang! I don't have dark vision, so getting up next to Hero is not going to be good for me.
Just maybe to spare anybody this. Were you intending to attack of opportunity me?
I was. Thank you.
That way, nobody else.
I appreciate you attempting to be fair. That would have failed.
Cool.
I guess I'll just drop down and get up in the Spectre's grill.
All right.
And I will just take a full round attack action.
Do it.
I think I'll use my my axe hand.
Yeah.
All right, so that is a 15 to hit.
15 will hit.
Okay, and a 14 to hit.
Will hit.
And a 13 to hit.
Will not hit.
Okay.
You have discovered that its AC is 14.
I rolled a 5, 4, and a 3.
Right.
So that is 6 points of damage for the first one and 12 points for the second one. So 18 total.
Okay.
And that is slashing.
Okay. All right. So you said 18 total on top of 33.
Right.
37, just kidding. That's a total of
85.
85?
No.
65. I was like, that has to be wrong. Okay, 65.
55.
55. I trusted you. Come on.
How does the Spectre look?
Angry.
Okay. Is it like leaking ectoplasm?
Actually, there is something interesting that you noticed. You used an axe blade, right?
Right.
So it now has, sum total, gaping chest wound with the tiger's eye at the center. It has spectral flames because it is now on fire. It has a slash that goes across like its chest, across that gaping chest wound from where Ronnie hit it. And then as you come down with your axe, it like breaks the clavicle and goes through a couple of ribs. And as you pull your axe blade out, you see that it now has that gash. But everything that you've done to it has, like, it's as if it's been done physically to this creature, and then it's assimilated that into its form as if it becomes a part of it. As if that's now the shape of the ghost.
Okay. And it has the Weatherstone inside of it, correct?
Yes.
Like it's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah.
I want to reach in and grab the Weatherstone.
Okay.
Can I apply my
Bonus action?
not second wind? No, I was gonna do an action surge. I figured it'd be a whole action.
Yes. Action surge and do it. Sounds great.
Okay.
So this is going to be. I'll treat it as a grapple. So you're basically doing a strength check, athletics check, and I'm going to oppose with either dexterity or athletics, my choice.
All right. Can I use my inspiration dice for that?
Sure.
All right. 23.
Okay.
Wait. Sorry. No, that is 23. That is right.
Okay. Rocky, you boldly with your free hand reach straight into this creature's chest. You fold your fingers around the tiger's eye that is its heart now at this point. It almost appears to lean in as you do this, as if it wants this, as if it wants to put your hand into the gaping hole in its chest. You make contact, you grab it, and you yank. And as you make contact, nope, just kidding. Here we go. You take 4 points of lightning damage and go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
So this is either going to have been a really good idea or a really terrible idea.
You're probably the one who's best fitted to do it. No.
Constitution saving throw, that's 11 total.
You are stunned for 1 round.
Okay, that's...
As you stare into this thing's eyes, and it flashes for a moment to reveal its true identity as the guy that you totally pulverized and shoved off of the ship.
Right. Okay. I thought you were.
And then it's back to being a sort of spectral, skeletal visage of what it used to be.
I thought you were going to say I was possessed. So
no, you're not possessed. Not this time.
Stunned I can deal with.
Not this time.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's my turn.
Okay. That brings us down to Jareth. You're up.
Okay, I'm going to cast haste on Ronnie. What'd that do? That does...
I love the side talk going on in the chat right now.
For the duration of the effect, your speed is doubled. You get a +2 to AC. You have advantage on Dex saving throws. And why not? I'll pump 2 spell points into it, and you also get an additional attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use object.
Is that a bonus action or a regular attack?
A regular attack. One weapon attack. It's not a full attack. So if you had 2 attacks, you wouldn't get 2 additional attacks. You just get 1.
Right.
Yeah.
I only have 1 attack.
Okay. Oh, and when the effect ends, you cannot move or take actions until your next turn. Because you were so fast.
Gotta go fast.
No, haven't you seen The Flash? He gets all like super hungry and shit. I don't either. That's like one of the few things I know.
So, Jareth, how do you cause this magical effect to occur? Are you singing? Are you?
I start mumble rapping.
That's amazing. Appropriate.
If you're familiar, actually no. I'm gonna do something very Tech 9-ish.
Okay.
If you're not familiar, he's a rapper from Kansas City, and he does some speed rapping.
Ooh, okay, sounds great. I like it. We'll have to find that after the
Represent.
Tech 9. Sorry. Like causing a drive-by.
Look up Einstein. Do what?
Like causing a drive-by at the Granada.
Would you like to move?
No, because as a bonus action, I'm going to attack.
Ooh, okay, you can do that.
Bard thing.
Ooh, cool.
If I cast a spell as a bonus action, I get one attack. College of Valor thing, and it's a natural 20.
Oh no! I have
So,
calls. They exist.
Use my moon touched rapier.
You're just hands.
Yeah, I know. So it's a D8 plus 2 times 2.
All right, let's see.
It's a D10. There we
go. Is this piercing or slashing?
Piercing. It's a rapier, right? Yeah, it's a piercing.
Okay.
It is a magical weapon.
So for the next one round, it gets disadvantage on its dexterity saving throws and cannot use evasion, which is a thing because this creature actually started with evasion. And for the next 2 rounds, it has disadvantage on strength saving throws and is encumbered. Cool. Because you gave it a shoulder wound, which again, as you pierce this thing through its shoulder, you see that this gaping hole appears, and as you pull your rapier back, you see that hole now sort of widens a little bit, as if the ghost is assimilating the wound into its form. All right, that's Jareth's turn.
Cool.
We're down to Bran.
Alrighty. I want to get over and you said that dark vision can actually see through the darkness thing?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to actually do another one of my berries and try to catch the other guys.
Okay.
Really locking them down.
Yeah.
I can't really do much against this Spectre guy, so I just want to screw with everybody else. Now, am I going to get an attack of opportunity if I try to go past?
Nope, because he attacked me, which is why I brought it up, because I wanted to spare anybody else from that.
Like clear the way, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so you have another thing, and you want to get them?
Well, like not hero.
So them?
I mean, just not hero. So yeah.
Okay, great.
That works.
Sounds good.
I'll need to move down in front of that rock, though, so I can get close enough.
1, 2.
Probably one more. I don't want to be next to that.
3.
There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Great. You have moved. You have acted. Anything else?
No. Okay. How are you?
Fine. How are you? That was Bran. The crew of the Maelstrom will now, following their last orders, say, Captain, what do you wish us to do? One of the crew members, we're going to say Mortag, rushes over to Prague and begins helping Prague because Prague is stunned. The other one, Gundren, will actually get on
excuse me,
the spire shot, and he'll begin kind of trying to figure out what he wants to do, and he starts to sort of maneuver the ship so that he gets the spire shot lined up with the Spectre, and then he thinks twice because he sees that so many of the rest of you are around it. And you kind of hear and see, those of you outside will be able to see the spire shot begin to spin, like revving up a little bit, and then sort of slow down as he thinks better of it. Astra will come to your aid, Yara, and basically stick her head inside the bit and see if you're okay. She'll kind of like shake you awake a little bit. So you said evasive maneuver. So the rest of the crew is going to continue evasive maneuvers. Let's see if they can succeed on that. Yeah, they do pretty good. So the next lightning bolt that strikes they will have advantage on the save. And that brings it down to the bottom of the round. Now that you guys are close enough, Hero, you're now in this area to see what's going on. Those who failed their saving throws, if they stay, they will fall asleep.
If they stay, well, they have to make their save at the beginning of their turn.
Okay, so they're going to make the save.
Creatures that enter the darkness or start their turn within the darkness.
Okay, so they're going to start their turn in the darkness. This is Martin.
Now the ones that originally failed, this is the save to see if they fall asleep. The
Correct.
one that succeeded has to make the original save again.
Correct.
Because it's starting his turn again. And
correct. So Martin, you see, now falls asleep.
Sweet.
The Buccaneer and his monkey fall asleep. And then this one, what's your DC?
18.
Falls asleep. This one, who's now staring directly at you from inside the tent, like holding the side, the flap of the tent against her face as if just like poking her head around and seeing what's going on, sees you come up directly in front of her, cast this spell, the darkness happens, the sinking earth happens, all this stuff. And she succeeds on her second saving throw. So she's now like resilient out the wazoo. She will release the flap, and you see the bulk of her sister now being dragged further in, and then you don't see where they go next. Okay. Because
aren't they restrained, or how'd they make on their saves?
I think the one wasn't even in your.
The one that's acting wasn't restrained because you avoided hero. The one that
they're right in the middle.
Succeeded every single save from all of these so far.
Yeah, that one twin, she's been the hero of this scenario. Also, the other twin, the one that fell asleep, did not succumb to the berry, and the Buccaneer also did not succumb to the berry. The guy in the back, what's your DC, Bran?
19.
He did. He succumbed to the berry. So this guy's buried a little bit.
So from now on, the ones that fell asleep at the beginning of their turn, they can try to save against the sleep to wake up.
Okay.
It's the same save.
Right. So the twins are no longer visible, but everybody else who is in the darkness is asleep.
It's the first time I've used that. Worked out pretty well.
Guy who's buried fails his save and sinks another foot. Other guy who's buried, wait, he makes another check on his turn or your turn? Bran?
For which?
The buried guy.
They will make a check whenever I first cast it, and then whenever it is their turn. On their turn, they can make a save either whenever they enter it or if they are restrained.
Okay, so grand total, these two guys here are buried 2 feet deep.
Are they dead?
No, these guys are human-sized.
Well, they're asleep though.
No, these two guys are not asleep because they're outside of the darkness.
I just wasn't sure what happened with the mouse.
Right. The mouse is asleep and buried. The Buccaneer is asleep and buried.
Yeah.
And I will say, because they're asleep, they can't make a strength saving throw to resist, which means that they can't bury themselves more. Do they only get buried more if they struggle?
A creature restrained may use its action on a success, on a failure. Okay, so I guess if they're just not moving, then they won't go any further.
So theoretically, if they're asleep and not moving, they should not be buried any more than they already have been.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
You could just rush in and stomp on their heads or something.
I mean, okay. So that's the bottom of the round. All those guys. So, yes, at this point, because enough mayhem is happening, and they clearly see that you guys are attacking all of them, you may have noticed at this point that none of them have tried to attack you so far, except for the Spectre. The lightning wizard here in the back, who's now 2 foot buried and awake, hollers at you, Bran, and he says, "Release us! We are not the ones who have brought this upon you. It is your own malice against us. Yes, we've attacked you. Yes, you defended yourselves, but now you must appease the captain. The captain!" And that's as far as he gets in 6 seconds. lightning bolt falls. I
He's allowed
guess
a reaction.
stunned, Yara, so you can't activate the thing as a reaction, and there aren't any other. Well, I suppose the Goblin or Astra could trigger the. I'll ask you, Yara. Would you like Astra to trigger the immunity?
We got our flex again this round, so or
Well,
our
that's for a full
defensive
minute.
action.
The immunity would last for a full minute.
No, not this round again.
Okay.
Okay.
So Astra will not trigger the immunity as a reaction, and the lightning will fall. The this is good for you guys. The lightning strikes, and through some as the two the protection effect and the alteration effect sort of interact with each other, you know how when you put two sets of stripes on top of each other, sometimes they sync up and sometimes they don't. This happened at just that moment where it essentially gave the ship the magical equivalent of immunity for a split second, unintentionally. I rolled a natural 20 on the save. So I'm going to rule that lightning bolt strikes, but rebounds and heads back off into the sky at an angle. And there's no damage to resist, and therefore there's no stun effect to resist either. That's what happens with the lightning. You see, of course, as that happens, Rocky, that the eyes of the specter flash that sort of amber color, and you see that as the lightning falls, seconds before it does, it sort of radiates this amber color in the clouds, and then, of course, the lightning falls out of the sky. So you can clearly see that it's the specter itself who's commanding the weather in this area. The weather then intensifies, and at this point, it gains a severity cold. It is between 0 and minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit at this point. Everything starts to freeze around you. Everybody who's outside needs to succeed on a Constitution saving throw. Or things.
My short bow makes me comfortable in cold weather, though.
So you are fine.
Or extremes.
Yep. What do we got on Bran and Hero?
Which save is this?
Constitution.
Ugh.
I'll go ahead and make it. I feel like I have a thing for this though. But, I mean, it'd be 18 anyways.
4.
Ooh. Okay. And Bran?
Mine is 18, but I'm pretty sure I have a thing for this.
Okay. And then Jareth?
21.
21. So, Bran, you both and Jareth, I'll just cut to the chase. Nothing happens to either of you as you're able to resist the effects for a round. However, Hero, this blast of cold starts to freeze you from all sides. And while you may be resistant to fire, you are not resistant to cold, and your joints begin locking up as you gain a level of exhaustion.
Cool.
In addition, the wind is now a severity level 2 as well. It begins blowing and blowing more violently than it used to. Now, ranged attack weapon rolls and wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing are at disadvantage. It now fully extinguishes open flames, so any light that would have come from the campfire is now extinguished, darkness or not. No one's flying at the moment. It does, however, kick up the sand in a cloud, so it imposes disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight. All right. All that stuff happened at the bottom of the round. Yara, you're up. You're no longer stunned.
I think my new order is going to be blast them specters and
Shoot her!
yeah, shoot her! And I think I'm going to do the same. Since I am in the bid, I will just start
You
firing
are.
the energy beam at
That sounds great.
Werger. Yep.
How many attacks do you get?
We're doing good on the defensive. We just reflected back one of the attacks. We've got that reaction lift. I say fire all
Okay. Sounds
cannons
great.
and whatnot. So
Go ahead and make your attack with the bit using the energy beams.
I'm assuming that uses... That just uses like base proficiency, right?
Yeah, it's whatever it says, I think, right?
See what it says.
So this is a +6 to hit.
Oh, it's just the +6. Okay, so that's just going to be a 11.
11 will not.
Okay.
So what happens is you actually orient the bit in the direction that you want to fire, and because you like the sort of spatial awareness hasn't quite kicked in yet for Yara, and she realizes that it actually can't lower past a straight 90-degree angle to the key, which means it can't fire down toward the sand where the specter is.
Nice.
You know that you can hit it if you detach and fly in the bit. Then you can direct it whichever way you want. But in order for that to happen, you would have to power it with a stone separate from the key. So you do learn some things. You've given your command. You've shot your weapon. I assume you won't be moving.
No.
Any bonus action?
I do not have a bonus action.
Awesome. Ronnie.
I'm gonna attack the Spectre guy again.
Oh, crap. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. I have completely spaced the fact that I didn't give the Spectre a turn.
Okay.
One moment. That doesn't work. Yeah. Rocky, while you're holding on to the Weatherstone, the Spectre stares you in the face, shimmers, and becomes semi-translucent. When it does so, it gains this form that appears to be blurred, and then you actually lose your grip on the Weatherstone, as if it and the Spectre have both phased out of sort of orientation with this with the material plane. It's become incorporeal.
Okay.
It will then move through you as it puts its own hand into your chest in the same action that you used to destroy it when it was alive. And then it says, "Restore body." And it will attack you.
Now, I did forget I have an ability that lets me re-roll a saving throw. Is that something you'd let me do retroactively?
For?
Because I was stunned.
Remind me why you were stunned?
He failed
Because
his con save.
I failed my con save, but I have Indomitable.
Oh. Yeah, we'll say that happens as a reaction.
All right. Jeez.
Which means if you are Indomitable, then this will be a straight roll and it won't be advantage. It makes attacks against you, but you are Rocky, and it jabs at you with its hook straight into the chest where you punched it, and it just ting, and it stares at its own hook and it tries again, ting, and nothing happens. Like you hear the sound of metal hitting stone, but there's no effect whatsoever.
Okay. I did roll a new roll. It was a 13, so it's not much better if you did that.
12 was enough, yeah.
Okay.
He's not a very strong magic user. He's just an undead pirate. Okay, now
Can I use my reaction to attack him since he moved away from my space?
Sure, that makes total sense.
22.
Okay, having used your reaction, because he was incorporeal as he was moving, it goes straight through him.
Okay. Is he still that?
Nope, he has rematerialized.
Okay.
All right, so that brings us back up to Ronnie. Your actual turn now begins.
All right. I'm going to go around so I can reach him, and then I'm going to attack him.
You want to just come here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. 29.
Will hit. Holy
All right.
crap.
So I'm not going to roll for my poison damage. I'll just roll for the slashing and the sneak attack.
Yes. That.
$30 damage.
Okay. How do you want to do this?
I just want to hit right after he was being all creepy and stuff, and he rematerialized. I just want to reach over and just like cut his head off.
Okay, sounds good. So as you sweep your alchemical blade through the air, you see almost like this guy is still floating underwater. You see his head, like he's talking, restore body. And his whole head just begins floating off of his shoulders, and he slowly begins to dissipate into so much ethereal smoke, and he just kind of and the Weatherstone drops to the sand. Almost immediately, the storm begins to clear, and no longer from inside the key, Yara, you can tell that the lightning will not return. You also notice that the wind, the cold, and the rain immediately subside as well. So while Hero, you still have that level of exhaustion, there's no longer any threat to anyone else in terms of having to make any saves after that. Your magical effects are still present. We'll worry about what happens to the pirates that remain next week. You are out of combat. They will not attack you. They're all frightened anyway. And I will say, as sort of a parting shot to the session, within the darkness, from immediately behind you, Hero, you hear a as suddenly you see materializing out of nothing this sort of blue-hatted individual with a hexagonal shape to the hat. It bears the sigil of the Weather Guild. And he promptly bows, holds an ivory box out to you, sort of a square shape about the size of a Rubik's Cube. And he says, would anybody be able to sign for this? I hear it's very important. Straight delivery from the monastery.
Yes.
Very good. Right here. And he holds out a little notepad, and it says, delivery, 500 gold due.
We're just going to pay up.
Yeah, we gotta go out that way for that. I don't have gold.
Very good. He'll go ahead and take the box back from you and take his ledger that way. So wherever you direct him.
Ronnie's the only person I can think of who hoards all the gold.
And if I'm paying for this money, it's my paying for the stone. It's mine.
I figured.
You accept Miriam checks, fire the spire shot.
Fire all!
Okay, 500 GP.
Yeah.
500 gold.
I begrudgingly hand it over.
Okay. You sign on the line. The gold sort of sucks into a small sort of interdimensional space. The guy bows, tips his hat, and also sucks away into an interdimensional space. You have the ivory box in front of you. You open it, and the lightstone is inside. Hero, this is the parting shot. Hero, as you set eyes on the lightstone, make a wisdom saving throw.
All right, hang on. 8.
Like a lance has been shot through your heart, you feel the presence of overwhelming, pure light pierce through you, and you are faced with an option. If you choose, you may accept the light. If you do, you will become immediately unattuned to the darkness stone.
The other option is just not.
The option is to resist the light stone and take radiant damage.
I'm going to roll for myself real quick.
Okay.
Because this is all really fresh. So above a 10, I will resist it. Below a 10, I'll accept it. 14.
Okay. As Hero is reminded of the true purpose of returning to the material plane this time around, she allows the arrow of light. Nothing actually visibly happens, but the sight of it, the fact that it exists and so close in proximity, reminds you of the moments when you, once upon a time, had access to it. And the dark stone falls from your hand. You didn't even know it was in there. Your eyes lose the darkness, and you become unattuned to the dark stone. And that's where we will close session tonight.
Well, that's a roller coaster.
Nice.
So thanks, guys. That was fun.
Yeah.
That
Although,
was
well, actually, now that I think about it, since that's gone, the darkness then will be gone too. So, actually,
Well, you said that was your
so
demonic.
no. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yep. Although,
Unless,
on
yeah.
that note,
The last
that's
time this
interesting.
happened, I lost all connection to the light sphere. So is it the opposite now?
That's a good. So you recognize that happened when you touched the light stone, and then the change in your eye color was the result of attuning to the darkness stone. So no, I'm sorry. When you touched the dark stone, it caused you to lose all of the benefit from the light. So touching the stone would probably do something, and attuning to the light stone would probably do something.
Okay. Just because I'll forget for next time, can I cuff my cloak with my hand and pick up the dark stone so we don't lose it, and I can think this over?
Yeah, right. Like you recover it, but you
I don't want to touch it just yet. I want to.
Yeah, probably what's going to happen is Hero, being especially careful, is going to pull out. I'll say you've got a handkerchief of some variety. Like you scoop the sand around it, so it's not even touching the handkerchief. You just, yeah,
Okay.
you got it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So we'll see y'all next time. Those of you who are watching online, and in the meantime, stay safe out there.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Yeah.
I guess.
Good night.
Bye.